to the wall. Gone. The game is tied.
A pitch well out to left. And it is gone! Nick English!
And folks, the Cats are going to the Super Regionals.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Globe Life Field in Arlington, where we are all set for 2 more games today as part of the Amegy Bank College Baseball Series presented by Kubota. Right away, we're underway. Michael Quevedo firing the first pitch today. It is 2 games starting with Michigan and Kansas State. And what a fast start as Michigan gets things going with Jonathan Kim. Little floater down the line. And it's a leadoff double. Alongside Pat Combs, I'm Ben Wilson. How about that for a start? Wasting no time. Here we go. Michigan looking to bounce back after a 10-4 loss to TCU yesterday. And it helps when your leadoff hitter, Jonathan Kim, produces like that.
Yeah, we run speed-up rules here today. Starting this game a little bit early, but yeah, what a start for Michigan. Jonathan Kim almost had the same exact swing and hit yesterday for a double. He starts it off today against Kansas State. Gets it on the right foot. Michigan looking to add to some run production today, and good start for Jonathan Kim and the Wolverines.
Cade Ladahoff in the 2-hole today for Michigan. Wolverines had the 4-0 start last weekend. They were the talk of college baseball as an unranked team who went down to Puerto Rico and had a sweep, including a win over second-ranked Virginia as part of that tournament. As this changeup is outside, but they lost yesterday 10-4 to TCU, and this is how they line up, presented by Amegy Bank. Mitch Voigt, the star of the lineup, in the cleanup spot, hit a 2-run homer yesterday, while a couple of newcomers, Noah Miller in at catcher, bats 5th. Colby Turner pinch hit yesterday. He hits 6th. With a pop foul on 2-0 by Ladahoff. We'll also see Tyler Inge for the first time. He bats in the 8-hole. Against Michael Quevedo. Don't let the 5'4" stature fool you, Pat. He's got really good stuff and was the only winning pitcher last weekend for K-State.
Yeah, the senior left-hander from Nicholls State transfer in, and look at the record from last week against St. Joe's. Picked up the only win for K-State, but brings a ton of experience and really good stuff to the mound. As you mentioned, he was 9-3 in 2 seasons at Nicholls, logged more than 112 innings in 28 games, made 23 starts. So one of those pitchers that Pete Hughes says, look, he's just got one of those heartbeats you love. He's been on the big stage before, knows how to handle a lineup. And again, not overpowering stuff, but good stuff nonetheless.
After firing in a strike, his defense was a big work in progress last weekend. 11 errors in their first 5 games, but were clean last night in an upset win over Arkansas, 3-2. The 2-2 is swung on and missed. Nice fastball running up and in on Ladahoff for the first out.
Yeah, well spotted fastball at 88 miles an hour, up and in. Just located it really well. You can see it, the approach by Ladahoff. He was trying to go to the right side of the infield to try to move Kim around, and unsuccessful late on that fastball in.
Brings up Jeter Ibarra as we're just underway. Michigan K-State first, then Arkansas TCU the nightcap tonight. The 2 ranked teams will play later today. A crack to right center. Ibarra wastes no time with extra bases, plating the first Michigan run. Jeter Ibarra gives Michigan a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, Ibarra gets the fastball delivery, just sitting all over it. Did a nice job of getting his hands to the pitch. You can see the fastball just kind of tailing out towards the middle of the plate. Ibarra hits the missile to the gap, and that'll be the first run on the board for Michigan. RBI for Jeter Ibarra.
Second straight game at Globe Life Field where Michigan has wasted no time. Yesterday they got Mitch Voigt to come up with 2 outs and Ibarra on first, and he hit a 2-run homer. And this tells you the sort of respect that pitchers have now for the budding superstar Mitch Voigt. Intentional walk with 1 out and a base open.
Yeah, you'd often see intentional walks in the first inning of a game. But yeah, highest respect for Voigt. Pete Hughes says, yeah, we're not going to mess with him at this point, and probably would have pitched around him anyway to try to get to Noah Miller. That's one of the things that Tracy Smith will have to be on the lookout for, is how do we protect that from happening with Mitch Voigt batting in the 4-hole.
A very rude introduction today for Michael Quevedo. And Noah Miller sends one to right field. Playable for Nick English. Went in, now ranges back and makes the catch. Ibarra tags, easily makes it to third. And it's runners on the corners with 2 outs.
Well, you can see already the approach by the Michigan hitters. Super aggressive early on against Michael Quevedo. They're looking for anything out over the plate to get their hands on, and they have been aggressive early on in this affair.
Colby Turner, one of 3 newcomers to the starting lineup today, compared to Tracy Smith's card on Friday. He did get into the game, though. Pinch hit, stayed in the game and right, went 0 for 2. Watches a first pitch changeup for a strike on the outer edge.
Yeah, Quevedo features that fastball upper 80s. He'll touch 90 at times, but his out pitch is a big breaking curveball. It'll be lower 70s, along with a changeup at 78 to 80.
Foul straight back, and it's 0-2. Quevedo only gave up 3 hits and a run in his first start of the year. Went 4 1/3 as K-State got a much-needed win against St. Joe's last Sunday at the Coastal Carolina tournament. He's already given up 2 hits and a run in his first 5 batters faced today.
Yeah, foul ball. That ball was tailing in on Turner. Check swing, caught a piece of the bat. Yeah, only win last weekend for K-State. Quevedo picked it up, and you talk about adding 20 newcomers that made their first appearance in a Wildcat uniform last weekend. Quevedo, one of those.
The 0-2 just misses low on a changeup. He was the Sunday starter last week, now the Saturday starter. But when we talked to Pete Hughes about his rotation, he essentially said there's really no rotation right now. We just have a bunch of arms. We're trying to see how it all shakes out these next couple weeks, as he bounces that one in the dirt.
Yeah, great stop by Bear Madliak, the Wildcat catcher. Made a couple of good stops last night, flashing his defensive skills behind the dish. Well, that gives your pitching staff a lot of confidence they can bury a breaking ball late in counts, especially with runners in scoring position.
The 2-2. Runner goes. It's inside, and they let Mitch Voigt take second.
Yeah, no chance on the speedy Voigt. Big jump at first base. Quevedo really zeroing in on trying to get Colby Turner out.
Voigt's second stolen base of the year. Already a crucial pitch for the lefty Michael Quevedo. Fouled back. Good battle with Colby Turner, the acquisition from San Diego State. Had an awesome freshman campaign out west, hit over 360. In an outfield battle right now, Michigan has a bunch of pieces they feel really good about. He split time with A.J. Roush yesterday, the Ohio transfer in right field. Fouls another one back.
Yeah, good battle. Couple of fastballs, and Turner right on it. Pitches are a tad elevated, so Quevedo just rearing back and firing.
Third different school for Michael Quevedo. Started at Arkansas Little Rock, then went to Nicholls State. Does have regional pitching experience. Now at K-State. Popped foul. And the battle continues.
Yeah, that time the changeup delivery, and the deeper this gets, the more pitches Turner sees. The advantage moves to him.
Quevedo didn't throw many pitches at the start of this inning. It was all first, second pitch attack mode for Michigan. First time he's been in a deep count. 1 run already in, 2 on, 2 out, a 3-2 count. Hit hard to center field. Dean ranging back, but has this one in his sights and makes the catch. Michigan for the second straight inning gets a first inning run thanks to doubles by Jonathan Kim and Jeter Ibarra.
Possibility. At Shriners Children's, we deliver healing to kids with critical burn injuries, like game-changing advances in regenerative medicine and creating the highest standard of care. We never allow your ability to pay for services to compromise the care your child needs, proving time and again what's possible by empowering the extraordinary. Shriners Children's, the most amazing care anywhere.
Possible Missions and their dedicated Amegy business banker work together to put the us in business banking by sharing the same values both in the office and out in the community. Now it's your turn with your own dedicated Amegy business banker with banking experience in your industry. Because you're more than a customer, we're more than a bank, and together we'll help put your business on solid financial footing with comprehensive financing options, earned interest on your accounts, and yes, by being a true community partner. Here we collaborate. Here you grow.
Just underway from Globe Life Field in Arlington. Michigan gets a run in the top of the first. Now it's Kansas State coming up with their lineup brought to you by Amegy Bank. Head coach Pete Hughes shifted things a little bit at the top of the lineup. Micah Dean was the hero last night. Had the game-winning double that won the game for K-State in a 3-2 win over Arkansas. He bats leadoff after batting second yesterday. Kyan Lotus gets his first appearance of the weekend in the 2-hole, while Shintaro Inoue, the outstanding native of Japan, drove in a run yesterday, moves from the 8 to the 6-hole against Kurt Barr. You talk about outstanding, Pat. This guy was locked in last weekend in his first start of the year, shutting out Rice in 5 innings.
Yeah, outstanding start for Barr, and he was last season's workhorse in the Michigan rotation, earned third-team Big Ten honors, pitching 89 2/3 innings. And, well, this guy is not, again, overpowering, almost like his counterpart Quevedo, but features great command of 3 pitches. He'll mix up the fastball in the upper 80s, but it's a plus changeup and curveball. Just brings a steady presence to Tracy's missed rotation.
Just outside on that first pitch fastball for Barr. A high pop-up foul by Micah Dean. Gets into the seats. Fans still filing in today. Early afternoon start. First of 2 games today. And here's how the Michigan defense lines up behind the pitcher, Kurt Barr. Were so good last weekend, just 2 errors in 4 games, but had some spotty defense yesterday. Had an error, a couple misplays in the field that didn't go as errors, but should have been made. As this slider misses outside, and that was really the difference in a 10-4 loss to TCU, a game where you watched that play out. Going into the 6th inning, Michigan was in a really good position. It was just one of those games where the defense ultimately let them down. This 2-1 is fouled off.
Yeah, it just got sloppy in the 6th inning, and it just kind of got away. A couple of plays that you thought should have been made by the Michigan defense, and there was the 1 error, but yeah, just contributed to a number of bases for TCU, and they took advantage of it.
The 2-2. Swing and a miss. Pretty looking slider from Kurt Barr.
Yeah, great opening sequence for Barr. Nasty pitch to finish off Micah Dean. A really tight spinning slider. Yeah, over the top of it. Yeah, Tracy Smith feels like Kurt Barr is the guy that should be his Saturday starter. Really gives him the ability to go deep into games. Very efficient in his approach, pitches to contact really well, but he feels like it gives the Wolverines the best opportunity to stretch a starter out, try to save some of that bullpen.
Kyan Lotus fouling it off. Saving the bullpen, that's a big key today because Michigan had to go to 5 different relievers yesterday. Fastball catches the inner half. The good news is 3 of those 5 relievers pitched less than an inning, but had to get a lot of guys warm, hot with how the game really fell apart late against TCU. This one is tapped foul on 0-2 by Lotus.
Yeah, you could definitely see Conley, Rogers, Bradley, even Ricky Kidd come back today if needed. As Tracy Smith said, look, we've got plenty of arms in that bullpen.
Kurt Barr threw 81 pitches his first start last weekend, gave up just a single unearned run on 3 hits. This one hit right into the shift, but it gets under the glove of Voit. First base runner for Kansas State as Voit couldn't decide whether to charge or play back on that ball, and it ate him up.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Ben. He got caught in between there. You can see him just got to get back on his heels. Ball was hit really well from Lotus, and yeah, just one of those tweeners that you have to make a split-second decision on as an infielder, and you saw Voit just get caught in between and got back on the back of his heels.
Second error in as many games for this Michigan defense, and Mitch Voit, who is in a new role this year. He was a first baseman last season. This pitch misses high. Outstanding two-way player, first team all Big Ten, but as much as people just assume second base is an easy position to play, it's one thing to say that, it's another to make a transition and play a whole new spot.
Yeah, no doubt, and especially coming over from first base.
1-0 tap foul.
Yeah, not that Mitch Voit can't handle it. One of the better athletes on the field, and that was the question mark coming into this season as you think about, where does he play at the next level? He's going to get his shot, and that's a question that a lot of scouts have as well.
Swing and a miss. Another solid slider as the count goes 1-2. Voit played third as a freshman and was an outstanding two-way player. His freshman year went just how the coaches hoped. Then last year he got banged up, was playing first base. They were throwing him more as a pitcher. Ultimately got injured, had arm surgery in the offseason. Another slider outside 2-2, and now Voit at second base.
Yeah, that really was an attempt by Tracy Smith to save his arm by putting him at first base, keeping him in the lineup. This year, he is not going to hit the rubber.
Swing and a miss. Oh, first the slider. Now Kurt Barr shows a little curveball, and D. Kennedy was way out in front.
Yeah, 78-mile-an-hour curveball, and good depth to this pitch. Bottom just falls out of it. You see D. Kennedy fooled on the pitch to begin with, way out in front.
Barr now faces Seth Dardar as this Michigan pitching staff hopes to avoid the erraticness of their pitchers. Yesterday had 10 walks issued to TCU. First pitch fastball just outside.
Yeah, way too many free passes, but that's, was a kind of a typical start for Dylan Vignew, and pitched around a lot of mess yesterday with 7 walks that he accounted for.
Outside on a changeup to Dardar, who walked a couple times yesterday for K-State. It's a family affair for the Barr family with Michigan baseball. Kurt's dad, also named Kurt, played at Michigan. His younger brother, Preston, is a freshman on the team this year, as those two are reunited. Just outside, and it's 3-0. What's amazing about the Barrs is that they grew up actually in Canada, just across the border from Detroit, St. Joachim in Ontario, but they went to high school just outside Detroit in the U.S., University Liggett, and would actually commute every single day. Called strike on 3-0. I get that there's global entry nowadays,
Right.
Pat. You can figure out how to make that journey. It was about 45-50 minutes for them, but still commuted every day from Canada to the U.S. to play high school baseball, set themselves up for success.
If you're going to play hockey, you wouldn't make that trip, right?
Sure thing. The 3-1 is low, ball 4 in Kansas State. After the E4 with 1 out, now get a 2-out walk.
Yeah, the approach there by Kurt Barr, really pitching Dardar careful. Everything was down and away. Ends up with the walk.
third walk of the weekend for Dardar, and now Nick English, who went 0 for 4 yesterday. Takes a called strike with the slider, but is used to coming up in big spots. English hit a big home run last year in the Fayetteville Regional, part of the upset win over Arkansas, as the 3-seed Wildcats came out of that regional, went to Supers for the first time in over a decade. Slider misses here.
That was a really historic season for K-State. Of course, led by their head coach, Pete Hughes.
The 1-1 in there with a curveball, all off speed so far to English. So even though you have 7 starters for that man, Pete Hughes, to replace, at least you have a couple guys who've been around this program, know what that culture's like, and Nick English is one of them. Good block by the new catcher today, Noah Miller. After yesterday's man back there, and Matt Spear had a really good game defensively.
Yeah, Spear had a couple of throwouts, key situations yesterday, and Noah Miller taking over today with a solid block. That's a slider that ducked down into that left-handed batter's box.
Chop to the left side. It is past Inge at third. Lotus around third, and K-State ties the game at 1.
Yeah, a good piece of 2-strike hitting from Nick English. Just shortens up that swing and gets a breaking ball. It had some downward tilt to it, but didn't break down and away. Did a nice job of pulling his hands in and just squirting that ground ball by Inge. Looked like Inge had a play on it, but ball scooted under his glove. They have ruled it a hit. English will pick up the big 2-out RBI.
You'd love to see the freshman just knock it down, especially with the runner at second. Just keep the bases loaded, but unable to do so. And the defensive miscue by Voigt comes back to haunt Michigan as we're tied at 1. And Shintaro Inoue, 1 for 3 with an RBI yesterday, digs in and takes a ball. Slider in for a strike. Obviously easy for us to say, Pat, and that's part of playing in this big league ballpark. You get the super true top spin hops, and that second hop just zoomed on Inge.
Yeah, this was a fast infield, and had a couple of coaches talk about that. It does take some adjustment.
Outside on a fastball, 2-1.
That's always a challenge for these players coming into, it's not only a major league facility, you've got, you know, different sight lines with the way the stands set up, but it's also just the speed of the infield. And of course, Michigan, would they have like 2.5 days of practice outside before they got here?
Fastball high and outside, 3-1. And you're not talking about this week, you're talking about the entire preseason. That's for right. Michigan.
Yeah, as you can imagine, a lot of indoor activity, and that weekend, last weekend down in Puerto Rico, was huge for them just to get into some warm weather and play outdoor baseball.
Inoue tried to hold up. That was ball 4 on a slider, but he couldn't. Instead of bases loaded and Madliak coming up, it is a full count. Inoue hitting the 8-hole last night, now moved up to 6th after a solid day. 1 for 3 with a run driven in. Runners go, punch back up the middle, took a deflection off the mound, and that one's booted. Cannot make the play as Casillas' error allows another run to score. Dardar in from second, and it's 2-1 Wildcats.
Yeah, not a difficult play for Benjamin Casillas, one he typically makes about 99% of the time, but that ball just crawled up his glove into his arm, and by the time he recovered, Inoue was past first base. So now a couple of errors and a misplay, and this is very reminiscent of yesterday's 6th inning. It allowed TCU to score 5 runs, and just a sloppy start of the game for Michigan.
We'll get to hear from Tracy Smith in the next half inning. He's out on the top step of the dugout. Can't like what he's seeing so far. The veteran with that fastball to Madliak high and outside. This is not on Kurt Barr at all, but the issue now is he's over 30 pitches. You have a bullpen that was really taxed yesterday, and now just sends his pitching coach Brock Hunsinger out to try and calm down Barr. Clearly frustrated out there when you're a pitcher and you get no help behind you. I'm sure you've had that happen to you.
Yeah, no
time
doubt.
or two, Pat.
No doubt. And then you got to protect the thought process now if you're a pitcher of saying, well, now I've got to get the strikeout. I can't count on my fielders to back me up here. And you got to avoid that, first of all. And secondly, for Kurt Barr, you know, he's taken some deep counts. He's usually a guy that pitches better to contact, and has not done that on a few hitters. So a number of things he can correct as well. But yeah, over 30 pitches the first inning, that was not the game plan.
Barr is still yet to give up an earned run this year. Gave up one unearned run last week in his 5 innings against Rice, which was a no decision. 2 unearned to start today as this slider's low and away to Madliak. Had a great game last night, 2 for 2 with a walk for the K-State catcher. Punches one to the left side. A diving stop by Casillas. He at least keeps it on the infield, but it is a base hit for Madliak, and the bases are loaded.
You know, look at Bear Madliak, and you just think, you know, is this guy really a decent college hitter? And but the numbers show he did a great job yesterday, just putting balls in play, and made some great defensive stops. Pete Smith said, you know, Pete Hughes says anything we get from him offensively is just a plus, and he has produced the last couple of days here in Arlington.
1 for his first 12, but 3 for 3 this weekend after the slow start. Maximus Martin takes a curveball high. What should have been a routine inning for Michigan and Kurt Barr. 1-2-3 with a couple punch outs instead has turned into a 35-pitch disaster and potentially continuing. Chopped foul to the left side.
Yeah, you have a couple of defensive miscues, and then, yeah, it almost always happens. You get an infield hit, you get a blooper, it just kind of starts to pile on, and Kurt Barr definitely has to keep his thought process from going there.
Slider catches the top of the zone. 1-2.
Yeah, Martin didn't like that. He felt that pitch was up. Take a look at the pitch track. What does that tell us? Well, the hitter was right.
That was a gift for Barr. Certainly could use a generous call. Blake Felix, our home plate umpire today. Swing and a miss. Good slider there in the dirt as Miller makes the tag on Martin. But 2 runs crossed for Kansas State with the help of 2 Michigan errors, and it's 2-1 Wildcats as we go to the second.
Your piece of land demands the very best equipment. Kubota equipment. The #1 selling compact tractor in the U.S. with professional grade mowers, versatile sidekick utility vehicles, and compact tractors that get it done right. All backed by unmatched dealer support. Talk to your dealer today to schedule a demo.
Elevate your ballpark experience with a tour of Globe Life Field and experience the home of the Texas Rangers like never before. Go behind the scenes and explore premium spaces, unique club settings, luxury suites, and more. Along the way, you'll discover rich history, impressive architecture, and fun photo opportunities around every corner. Globe Life Field's many tour offerings are sure to take your ballpark visit to the next level. For more information and to book your experience, visit globelifefield.com.
2-1 K-State as we go to the second inning. Our in-game interviews brought to you by Amegy Bank as third-year head coach Tracy Smith joins us from Michigan. Coach, we hope we get a longer inning with you this time. We felt cheated yesterday.
That was a quick one. Yeah, I'll take a long one right here too.
We certainly would. Well, underway and hitting-wise, it's been solid for you guys, but a tough weekend so far in the field. I mean, you've been around college baseball a long time. I'm sure you've had this happen in the past. What do you tell your guys when they're going through it in the field like this?
You got to. I mean, you got to have confidence in, make the next play. You know how that is. Sometimes it starts weighing with your head. You get a little shaky on the confidence piece. But we got a veteran club. These guys just need to want that next one no matter what.
Yeah, Tracy, and not a bad start for Kurt Barr. There's some things that got out of play there defensively, but how do you think he handles those types of situations, and what do you like most about Barr?
Well, that thing, they're a hit away from, really making it difficult on us, so I love the way they settled in there, and he's done that before for us in the past. We just got to pull our heads out of our rear ends defensively and start making some plays behind him. That was not pretty.
Benny Casillas started the inning here for Michigan. Here's a good start for you, Coach. Stings one to right field for a base hit. Well, you mentioned you got a veteran ball club, a 23-year-old like Casillas with the base hit. We're about to see, though, a youngster in Tyler Inge. It makes us feel old here when the son of Brandon Inge, we all watch play Major League Baseball. Now he's got his son in your program. What's it like having Tyler in the program and a dad like Brandon who's been part of the coaching staff in the past year?
Yeah, Brandon was certainly welcoming to our staff when we took the job, and we were kind of like, does he want to hang around, does he not? And he just said, I want to be a dad. I want to watch my kid and enjoy him from afar. So good baseball guy, but you could also tell, we always talk about in our program, like, what's the message from home? Because this isn't going to be always perfect, and there's going to be times they're mad. So what's the message from home? I can guarantee you he gets a consistent message from home that he's getting from the coaching staff here. So love having him around. Tyler's a heck of a player. Got to be a really good player in the future, too.
We're pumped to watch him this weekend. Coach, appreciate the time as always. We'll check in with you again tomorrow.
Thanks.
And Tracy Smith with us as Michigan gets a leadoff hit. Called strike, and it's 0-2 to Inge. At least for Benny Casillas, got to feel good. You make an error in the field, come right back. Nice AB with a hard line drive to the outfield for a base hit.
Yeah, you always think of redemption as a baseball player. You make a mistake like that, you feel like you let your team down, and what can I do to help at least try to start a rally here offensively? And Casillas doing a good job. It's oftentimes a mark of a great player. It's not the error, it's what they do and how they perform after that. Good job of Casillas just to erase that and have a good at bat.
Fastball high, and it's 1-2 to Tyler Inge. Punches one to center field. Dean moves a few steps to his right and makes the catch. Michael Quevedo got touched up early, but the one good thing, Pat, is he's pitching to contact. Hasn't had to throw a ton of pitches so far.
Yeah, that's really his MO. He does that well. We talked about the stuff, the fastball not being overpowering, but he commands his three pitches well, not afraid to challenge hitters. We saw that in a couple of 3-2 counts. He was just rearing back and letting some fastballs go last inning. But one of those guys that just trusts his stuff and loves to keep his defense involved.
Now faces Greg Pace Jr. at the bottom of the Michigan order. Holds off on a slider just inside. It is an inspiring family story for Michael Quevedo, who was born in Miami, but Pat, his parents were part of the lottery system, emigrating from Cuba back in the late 90s.
Yeah, how about that? Parents able to get to the Miami area and had to go through the lottery system in Cuba to be able to get that accomplished. And then, of course, Michael Quevedo, born in the Miami area and able to live in the U.S. and come up and attend college. Of course, transferred from Nickel State.
1-1, punched hard to right field. English got a little turnaround, but he does recover and makes the catch on the warning track for a loud second out.
Yeah, good sign for Greg Pace Jr. Has had a rough start to the season in terms of just batting average, but really getting the barrel to the ball now, being patient. That was a good at bat. Saw a couple of pitches and then puts a good swing on one and punches it toward the wall in right field.
The entire Wolverine lineup just hoping that some sort of osmosis happens with Jonathan Kim, who cannot stop hitting. Here he waves and misses at a changeup and did offer. 4 for 6 this weekend, 13 for 24 this year.
Yeah, I don't think he'll keep that pace up, but certainly is off to a great start, man. Unbelievable.
Launches the slider down and away. Ball looking like a watermelon right now for Jonathan Kim. Michael Quevedo at least gets him up with 2 outs and no runners in scoring position.
Yeah, just great bat to ball skills and typically a very disciplined hitter. Prototypical guy, that leadoff guy for you, and forces a lot of pitches. But then he'll get that dinky hit like the double he had back in the first inning. Then he'll just hit that screaming line drive to a gap.
Takes a slider for a strike, 1-2. Some hitters you go, all right, you got him in a good spot, 2 strikes, but not with Jonathan Kim. He is so steady even with 2 strikes. Swings and misses here though. What a pitch by Michael Quevedo as the runner was on the move. Kim strikes out. Quevedo works around a leadoff single, and it's 2-1 K-State to the home half of the second.
First, at Shriners Children's, the world's most advanced scoliosis procedures are born here. In fact, we deliver access to the world's best doctors for nearly every pediatric orthopedic condition. Where delivering care without compromise is our promise. And kids can just be kids. Because being first always starts with empowering the extraordinary. Shriners Children's, the most amazing care anywhere.
There's an old saying, everything's bigger in Texas. Well, let's just say, IndyCar is about to go to a whole nother level. Get ready, Arlington. This is where history is made and champions are born.
A good start for Kansas State today. 2-1 lead to the bottom of the second after they upset Arkansas last night. 1-run lead over Michigan. And as we welcome you inside Globe Life Field in Arlington with the former big leaguer Pat Combs, I'm Ben Wilson. Kansas State lost so much from last year's Super Regional team. 7 of their 9 starting hitters, all 3 weekend starters and a stud closer. Wasn't a surprise to see him struggle out of the gates, Pat, but last night really showed, and the start of today, that they've got a ton of talent.
Yeah, they really do. 20 newcomers in the K-State uniform coming into the season. But, yeah, Pete Hughes said, hey, I got some concerns just with all the new faces around, and they're really stumbling out of the gate last week against Coastal Carolina. He was really concerned coming into this weekend against some great competition, but I think a lot of that was put to rest last night with that big win over Arkansas.
We'll talk with Coach Hughes next inning as his team has the 2-1 lead and now comes to bat with David Bishop, the number 9 hitter, up against Kurt Barr. Curveball misses upstairs. There's a good look at Pete Hughes in that dugout. Both of these head coaches so experienced. 26th year overall as a head coach at the D1 level for Hughes. Year 27 for Tracy Smith. As that fastball just misses and it's 2-0. When you're a coach, you're always thinking about the next thing, though. And Pete Hughes, after last night, wondered, all right, how do we bounce back? Now we play the early game. We just expended a lot of emotion, finally played a clean game as Bishop fouls this one off. And so far, the early returns have been very good.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, you got to, either way, last night's win was going to be an emotional one, whether you won or lost. It was a big win for K-State, but you got to turn right back around. Forget about that one and get ready for today. But you're exactly right. Pete's always thinking ahead about how do I have my guys prepared to play their best baseball.
Bishop stings one at Voigt. Camped out deep in the hole and makes the play.
Yeah, how about Pete Hughes? 7th year here at K-State. 822 now career victories, most by any current Big 12 head coach. He is 13th among active Power 4 D1 big coaches. So what a career for Pete Hughes. Can't wait to hear what he has to say next inning.
Mike Dean, a big reason why Pete Hughes got career win number 822 last night. Fouls that one straight back.
Yeah, foul ball from Dean catches the glove of Noah Miller and the mask of home plate umpire Blake Felix.
That slider's up high. Hard to believe that a coach who's won 822 career games in a 4-team tournament ranks 3rd in all-time wins of the 4 teams here, but that is the case for Pete Hughes. He's seen a few things over the years.
He has seen a few.
Pop to left field. Back goes Kim with enough room to make the catch on the warning track. Dean gives it a ride, but not enough, and it's 2 up, 2 down.
Yeah, showing the power of Micah Dean. A lot to look forward to for that player, but he was actually fooled on the pitch, but was able to get the barrel to it. Drive it deep into that left center gap. Just a few feet left before the fence for Jonathan Kim.
And the rally last inning all started with Kyan Lotus. Hit a shot to the right side that ate up Mitch Voigt for an E4. He came around to score. Both runs unearned as this curveball is inside.
Kyan Lotus showing bunt. Tyler Inge, third baseman, playing deep behind the bag for Michigan.
Fastball just catches the outside part of the zone. Lotus, one of the few guys who is a veteran, has been in the program for a while. Was actually summer league teammates with Kalen Culpepper a few years ago. Culpepper was the round 1 draft pick by the Twins last year. A huge loss for the Wildcats. Lotus grounds one to the right side. That's Ibarra. Flips to the covering Kurt Barr, and a nice response defensively for Michigan in the second inning as they get the Wildcats to go 1-2-3. Top half of the Michigan order up right after this as we go to the third.
Bowman Engineering and Consulting and their dedicated Amegy business banker worked together to put the us in business banking, which included the occasional lunch meeting. Now it's your turn with your own dedicated Amegy business banker with banking experience in your industry, because you're more than a customer, we're more than a bank, and together we'll help put your business on solid financial footing. With comprehensive financing options, earned interest on your accounts, and yes, planning sessions whenever you need them. Here we collaborate. Here you grow.
Arlington, the Renegades are going full throttle this spring when the UFL returns.
What a catch!
Get ready for more action-packed football and unforgettable experiences at Choctaw Stadium.
That is something special right there.
Renegades, mount up and get your tickets today.
Back at Globe Life Field in Arlington, 2-1 Kansas State going to the third as we're joined by head coach of the Wildcats, Pete Hughes. Our in-game interviews brought to you by Amegy Bank. Coach, thanks for joining us once again. I'm sure you were curious how your team would respond after the late night last night. Super emotional win. What do you make early of this 2-1 start?
Yeah, they came out great. We answered, you know, in the bottom half of the first. It's always a good thing. We had good energy, great pregame. And, nothing like a nice win to keep that adrenaline going the next day. But we practice early in the morning, so it's not something we're not accustomed to. Quick turnaround, so have a lot of faith in our guys.
Yeah, Pete Packholmes here. You know, we were just talking about you and your staff, and what a great staff you've got. Austin Waits, Rudy Darrow, and then your son Thomas Hughes. I loved your comment. You said, you know, I'm a fan of nepotism, but you've got your son playing or coaching with you now. And tell us about that and how that came to be.
You know, he started his coaching career at Moorhead State, and we had a chance to get him back in our program as our volunteer, and we jumped at it. And you know, he's super talented. He runs our whole defense, all our shifts, infield, outfield. He's our lead recruiter in the portal. You know, so and he's had some overtures. You know, he's had some job offers, and it's just not, you know, Daddy taking care of, you know, the son along the way his entire career. He's earned his own stripes. He certainly has earned the credibility and the respect of our players and our dugout and our staff.
No doubt. You got some really timely hits last night, too, with the 3-2 win over Arkansas. Watching your lefty here, Michael Quevedo, a really inspiring story from his family aspect, being part of the lottery system, winning their ticket from Cuba to the U.S. A guy who's certainly well-traveled, his third school. What can you say about Quevedo and his growth he's brought to your program? You
know, with the background of that story, every single day, he's never entitled, I promise you that. He doesn't take anything for granted. And every day is a different a new opportunity for him to grow and get better and be a great teammate and work at his craft and try to win for Kansas State. But he's a great leader. There's some serious character in there, and with a lot of trust when we put him on the mound, that's for sure.
Yeah, Pete, last question for you. Who is emerging from this team as maybe your leader or leaders that you really have to have step up after losing so many players from last season?
You know, David Bishop, he runs our whole defense from first base. That's unique. And he's a kid who's won a lot of baseball games. He's been to Omaha, and he's been around the block, so our kids have a ton of respect for him. And we got, you know, our number 2 catcher, Caden Phillips, is a super high character guy. Cayenne, Lodice, Ty Rule, he was there. He's the only guy that's been here since we were 5 years, you know. And you really trust those guys to be your foundation when you have so much turnover, you know, to continue your winning ways and your winning culture.
Been a pleasure watching your team so far, Coach. We'll catch up with you tomorrow. Thanks again for the time.
Yep, thank you, guys.
Michael Quevedo, that pitch was so far inside it almost hit Jeter Ibarra, but he still swung anyway. And it's 2 up, 2 down with a little nubber off the bat of Mitch Voigt. Awfully tough play. Cannot be made despite a good effort from Inoue and an infield single. Voigt knows that's about as soft a ball as he'll hit all season.
Yeah, big smile from Voigt. And yeah, sometimes you just got to hit him where they ain't, right? That's what happens here. Got the infield shifted over. Yeah, Inoue got to it in plenty of time, but yeah, just Mitch Voigt's speed made the difference.
It's got to sting as a pitcher. You're facing a guy at the plate as good as Mitch Voigt, first team All Big Ten, 2-way player a season ago, and you get a ball like that, you're going, really? He gets to sit there at first now?
Yeah, we've all said it. We've all said it, right? Sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good, and that time Mitch Voigt was luckier than good.
10th hit already this season in 21 ABs for Mitch Voigt, and he's only second on his team. Would not be shocked to see him take off here after stealing a base in the first inning. 2 for 2 already this season.
Yeah, he'll be looking for the right pitch, and Quevedo not fast to home plate. Puts a lot of pressure on his catcher, Bear Madliak, to get rid of it. Not seen the slide step from Quevedo, but this is a good time to use it.
There goes Voigt. Did not go slide step, and that means almost no chance for Madliak, as Voigt has his second stolen base in as many times that he's reached.
Yeah, and Madliak, he knows it. There's just nothing he can do, and the player gets a good jump from first base when you're 1-7, 1-8 to the plate. Not a catcher in the world that can throw that guy out.
Two 2-0 now to Miller. Fouls one back. Good opportunity for Noah Miller, who had his freshman season cut short. He only appeared in a couple games before getting injured. Had a knee injury, had to take a medical red shirt. But they love the future that they have at catcher when you have a grad transfer like Matt Spear, who brings the veteran leadership, and then a young guy like Noah Miller is in there as a redshirt freshman. Fights one off foul. It is 1-2 the count, with Mitch Voigt at second base, top of the third inning in a 2-1 game.
Yeah, it's a great option for Tracy Smith to have with Noah Miller. Of course, you give the slight edge to Spear just because of his experience, but yeah, Miller, a really good option.
Called strike 3. Look at how fired up Michael Quevedo is coming off the mound as he freezes Noah Miller with a backwards K.
Yeah, beautiful pitch bump to Quevedo, and pitch track catches it just top of the strike zone. Quevedo settling in. K-State with a 2-1 lead.
Resilience. At Shriners Children's, we're leaders in pediatric sports medicine, with expertise in sprains, tears, fractures, and other sports-related injuries. We're here to deliver the best care in the business and never allow your ability to pay for services to compromise the care your child needs. Because every great comeback starts with a game plan for empowering the extraordinary. Shriners Children's, the most amazing care anywhere.
Naylor Industries and their dedicated Amegy business banker work together to put the us in business banking, focusing on their business needs with lightning speed. Now it's your turn with your own dedicated Amegy business banker with banking experience in your industry. Because you're more than a customer, we're more than a bank, and together we'll help put your business on solid financial footing with comprehensive financing options, earned interest on your accounts, and yes, a banking partner who is just as invested in your growth as you are. Here we collaborate. Here you grow.
Back in the Lone Star State as part of the Amegy Bank College Baseball Series presented by Kubota. All 3 weekends of college baseball here at Globe Life Field benefit Shriners Children's with a portion of ticket sales going to a worthy cause that is dedicated to improving the lives of children around the world. To donate, scan that QR code right there on your screen or visit globelifefield.com/collegebaseball. So special that even though this is not a Shriners branded event this weekend, Pat, we still keep the donations coming after about $150,000 raised last weekend.
Yeah, outstanding, and great tournament last weekend, of course, supporting the Shriners Children's Hospital Network, and what a great group of people. And you think about all the kids that they affect in terms of offering services for free. And they are driven by donations.
Pop fly to right field off the bat at D. Kennedy. It hangs up long enough for the catch to be made. Nice job running in there by Colby Turner, despite losing his hat, and it's out number 1.
Yeah, both pitchers starting to settle in now, and boy, Kurt Barr needed a really quick inning last inning, and he got it. 3 up, 3 down. Now 4 in a row, make it 5 in a row for Barr after a long first inning. 35 pitches.
Which was not his fault. 2 errors behind him. Just misses with the curveball. Then a 1-2-3 second inning. Very easily could be 7 up, 7 down so far for Kurt Barr. Had a 3.41 ERA last year, pitched nearly 90 innings. A lot of work for him. This one is golfed to left center, and a little slice shot by Seth Dardar gets down to the outfield. The second K-State hit of the day.
Well, you can see why Barr pitched around him in the first inning. A couple of men on base in front of him, and it goes down and just golfs that into left center. Pretty good sinking fastball from Barr, but just a great piece of hitting from Seth Dardar.
Dardar has reached 4 times now this weekend. That actually the 3rd hit of the day so far for K-State. And it brings up Nick English, who had the base hit that scored the first run for K-State, unearned back in the first. Launches a slider in there for a strike. 3rd most run batted in on the team last year, had 37 as a freshman from Olathe, Kansas. Holds up on that check swing, and it's 1-1. And of all the main starters for K-State this year in the rotation, English, he is the only Kansas native for the Wildcats. From Manhattan, Kansas, the Little Apple. College town that has really grown tremendously, though. They've really built up their facilities. It's an awesome spot to go watch a game. Football, basketball, baseball, as well as that slider catches the zone.
Yeah, it really is. It's a lot like Arkansas in the respect of that's their big league team, right? It's one of those games you enjoy watching no matter what sport at K-State, but they got football cranking. Their basketball program is top notch, and now baseball with Pete Hughes leading the way.
Good pitch there. Slider gets English out in front.
Great pitch by Barr, and That's a pitch he's had great command of all day. See him start a number of hitters off with that slider, and now finishing English off with one biting down and away.
Brings up Shintaro Inoue, transfer from Western Nebraska JUCO. That's where he went to start his college career, growing up in Japan. Pitch down in the dirt on a fastball. This is actually a rematch of the 2022 part of the season opening tournament series we had at Globe Life Field. Michigan won that game 10-2. This is only the third ever meeting between the two teams. That's the only game Michigan has won at Globe Life Field. As the fastball misses high. So in a sense, I guess, happy to see Kansas State in a weird runabout way.
That's right. Yeah, Big 12, Big 10 matchup. And yeah, it doesn't happen very often with these two clubs. That's what these early season tournaments give you, though. Some great competition with oftentimes clubs that don't see each other during the seasons.
Called strike on a good slider.
Well, how about the story of Shintaro Inoue? He just, you know, comes from Japan, comes over here, doesn't speak the language, basically living away from his family on his own.
He rips one to the right side, handled nicely by Voigt, though, who collects it 102 miles an hour off the bat and makes the play. Barr works around the one-out single. We go to the fourth, 2-1 K-State.
Protecting what matters most is the mission that matters most. At Lockheed Martin, we know today's threats come from behind, above, and below, and we make sure those who serve stay ahead of them by connecting platforms necessary to dominate every domain across air, land, sea, space, and cyber, using technologies that protect in the same moment they detect. The mission is a safer, more secure world. Our promise is to help make it happen.
Sometimes you just need a little wonderful in your life. So why not go to a place made for it? Arlington, Texas. It's a city made for fun and excitement and all the things you love to do. And even some things you didn't know you loved until you came here and found them. Come see for yourself why Arlington is a world of wonderful.
Everything you thought you knew is brand new. We on a new wave. This ain't what it was. See, when the game changes, so do we. Every day, every play. Always been greater than 12. Now standing 16 strong. In every end zone, any time zone. When everyone else keeps asking, what's next? We know we are.
Back at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas, Kansas State a 2-1 lead over Michigan as they start their season here at Globe Life. They'll finish their season, at least they hope to start their postseason run, but finish the season as part of the Big 12 tournament. You saw that trophy a moment ago. They have the slate all cleaned out, and while Oklahoma State and Arizona were at the top of the Big 12 preseason poll, both of those teams, Pat, have struggled mightily out of the gates. Oklahoma State loses 3 of their first 4. Arizona got swept here over the weekend, and that's why they're preseason polls.
That's right.
And not postseason standings.
Yeah, you take them as you get them, but yeah, that's why they call it a preseason poll. There really is. Sometimes it's just the history of the club that puts them at the top. Of course, Oklahoma State winning the Big 12 tournament here last year. You would think that they would be at least top 3, but TCU so far ranked number 3 to start the season, off to a 5-0 start, and they look really good.
It's a 1-1 slider that catches the outer edge. Michael Quevedo back for his 4th inning of work to Colby Turner. K-State's won the Big 12 tournament title 6 times, but not in over a decade. 2013 was the last. This one punched to the right side as Turner is able to take it. Bishop, excuse me, able to take it himself. Turner grounding out to first.
Yeah, good history for K-State, and now that Pete Hughes has them back, playing great baseball. It's in recent history, last few seasons, K-State only getting to the regionals once, but Pete Hughes said, you know, even the 23 team that was left out, he thought was even a better team than last year's version.
The fastball just outside. Pete Hughes understands now that in the new look Big 12, which lost 2 great programs, Texas and Oklahoma, to the SEC, but also gained a couple great ones with that slider down and in. Great historically with Arizona and Arizona State, 2 of the winningest programs of all time. It's still a conference good enough to keep your RPI up, but at the same time, he's learned it's the non-con and how you schedule it really dictates things. If you are on the bubble, like K-State has been a bunch recently, as that one's outside.
Yeah, and I think a lot could be said, like Pete may have outdone himself this year. You know, going to the Coastal Carolina tournament, saw some good teams out there, and then of course you got Arkansas ranked number 5. You played North Carolina in a midweek game last week at number 6 ranked. Then you got Michigan number 22 ranked TCU on Sunday. Then they come back and play LSU on February 28th. How about that?
All in a month's work to start the season. Walk to Benny Casillas with 1 out. In some of the polls, Michigan actually is in the top 25, not in the D1 baseball rankings, which are considered the consensus rankings. We use those on our graphics, but there were some spots that did rank Michigan after this week. Change up just outside to Tyler Inge.
You know, talking to Tracy Smith about, you know, his team coming together and preparing for this season. They took their team on an international trip back in the fall, went to the Dominican Republic. He said that just really gave our team great confidence to play wherever. And of course, when you're Michigan trying to get to a place that's warm enough to play, that was important. But he said really brought the team together. And was good foresight on his part, knowing that they were going to start the season in Puerto Rico.
Fastball catches the inner half to Tyler Inge. And it meant that there was no wide-eye looks on his players' faces when they went down to Puerto Rico. He said they felt right at home, were not fazed by the moment. Swing and a miss. Big hack on a changeup, and it's 1-2. They faced a bunch of really good teams. It was Winter League teams in the Dominican Republic, some MLB Academy prospects, even a couple Dominican Republic military squads. 7 games in all, and Michigan did go 5-2.
And that's, I think, convinced Tracy and the staff that this team is not just good on paper, but they also saw some great things, especially as some of the younger players. He said it was really a big eye-opener for them, but they played well.
Especially for a freshman like a Tyler Inge, a highly talented kid, staying close to home, as his dad Brandon played third base for the Detroit Tigers for so many years. He's viewed as a draftable player in 2026 when he's eligible. And it helps you get comfortable right away. You go down, you play some grown men down in the DR, and part of the team chemistry all comes together, and now here you are. Your team's 4-1, off to a great start. The 1-2 down, 2-2. The big one was the Virginia win. Everybody was talking about that. A walk-off over the second-ranked team in the country, but against a really good Rice team, they were down 2-0, scored 5 in the 8th. Beat an undefeated Stetson team at the time. There's a swing and a miss. Changeup gets Inge out in front, and there are 2 outs.
Yeah, Inge jumped at that changeup off from Covedo, and he has used that pitch well, really keeping the Michigan hitters off balance. That makes his 88-mile-an-hour fastball look a little harder. Yeah, good down and away movement with that changeup.
Runner goes, pitch outside, a little double clutch by Madliak, and with that being a changeup, with it being a slow release, no chance to get Benny Casillas, who has the stolen base, his first as a Michigan Wolverine.
Yeah, just a tough situation again for Madliak to try to get that ball out of his glove quickly. Big jump from Casillas at first base. Would have taken a perfect transition and throw to get him.
as the sliders fouled off. It's an important stolen base because Pace put together a really good AB his first time up. He was on Quevedo's offerings, hit a hard fly ball into right, but Nick English was able to run it down on the warning track. Fastball cracks high, and it's 2-1. Outside, going slider, running it to 3-1. A lot of experience for Michael Quevedo. It's sort of funny how baseball can be one of those circular journeys. His first career college start was at Coastal Carolina as a freshman in 2022. His first start with Kansas State, also at Coastal Carolina, as this one's fouled off. A little deja vu moment for Quevedo, and he pitched really well in that tournament. 4 1/3, just 1 run allowed in a win over St. Joe's.
Yeah, first base open. Didn't think he was going to challenge Greg Pace Jr. He's got Jonathan Kim on deck. He struck him out last time, but Kim also hit the double against him in the first, so he's going to go after Pace.
But he misses. A little overthrow on the fastball. Not what you want with Jonathan Kim, one of the hottest hitters in the country. Top 5 in total hits nationally coming to the plate.
Yeah, Kim swinging the hot bat. Quevedo was successful against it. Really set him up well. There was a check swing on the first pitch, but finished him off with a fastball that got above his hands. It was a good setup by Quevedo. We'll see what this pitch sequence looks like.
The lefty fires a good slider in for a strike. It's interesting that K-State, while they have a lefty on the mound starting this game, are getting a sidearm throwing lefty loose in the pen right now, Adam Arthur. Punched up the middle. Dean coming in. It hangs up long enough for the center fielder to make the catch. Quevedo walks 2, but gets out of the inning unscathed. Still Wildcats by 1 at Globe Life Field.
At Shriners Children's, we're home to the world's leading pediatric orthopedic care. Because so many life-changing advancements start here. We provide access to the best doctors and never allow your ability to pay for services to compromise the care your child needs. We're the first place to turn for the most common or complex orthopedic conditions. Home to possibility and empowering kids to achieve the extraordinary. Shriners Children's, the most amazing care anywhere.
Record-breaking global superstar, Shakira. Live in Arlington. Las Mujeres Ya No Lloran World Tour. Globe Life Field, June 11th. The phenomenal new album Las Mujeres Ya No Lloran is available everywhere now. Get tickets now at Shakira.com.
Yeah, winning a policy. Thank God for $1 a prophecy. Love the pressure. I am a prodigy. Everybody inside of the stadium tell me they proud of me. Shot in public, training privately. Homer, straight to the balcony. Building muscle, I never can bother me. Texas Rangers together, we by the team. Go man, this is the dog in me. Still a game on the road, it's a robbery. Stand on base, going strong, no apology. Corey Seager might give it to Rock. Like I see it, descending my arm.
A whole lot of offense early, but since then it's been elite pitching as Kansas State leads Michigan 2-1. Michigan slated 5th in the Big Ten preseason poll. Last year the conference got 3 into the NCAA tournament, but it's a whole new looking Big Ten this year, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is. Yeah, a lot of new teams, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the selection committee goes about. You know, obviously they're going to rely on the metrics they've used with RPI, and it's going to be difficult with these Power Fours now to see who emerges and how many spots the selection committee goes with. But yeah, you would think you could make a case for the Big Ten having 5 to 6 teams that could make regionals this year.
17 teams in this new Big Ten. Wisconsin does not have baseball. 2-0 count to Bear Madliak as a slider that misses down. 3-0. That's the bottom of the order to start this inning for K-State. We've already watched how the Big Ten in basketball this year, it has been wild. The scheduling stuff has been a huge impact. And you figure that to be the case certainly this year, as it's a 4-pitch walk to start the inning. Kurt Barr has been very good on the mound so far. Just his second walk today. Only issue he got in trouble, inning he got in trouble with, was the first when he had 2 errors behind him. But he faces Maximus Martin here in the 8-hole. And we'll see a trip out to the mound from Noah Miller.
Yeah, trying to slow the game down at this point now with 63 pitches totaled by Barr. Only 34 strikes, a little bit unusual for him. You typically see a little bit better ratio strikes to balls for Kurt Barr. He's a guy that Tracy Smith counts on to typically get stretched into like that 5th, 6th inning. 35 pitches in the first. Michigan's defense let him down on a few plays, and that caused that pitch count to rise precipitously in the first.
We saw Thomas Hughes over there, the son of Pete Hughes. We were talking about Thomas earlier in our coach interview, third base coach. Slider down and away as Martin showed bunt, now pulls it back. Had a chance to take a Power 4 hitting job in the offseason, his dad told us. Also the quote of the week in our conversations with the head coaches: nepotism gives me loyalty. And my wife loves it.
That's exactly right.
Fastball is just outside 2-0.
Keeps the conversations at home on a good plane. I got to say, I like Pete's beard a little bit more than his son's, though.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like that look.
Pulls back on the bunt, 3-0.
Yeah, Martin trying to get Barr out, but Barr struggling with command.
Really out of nowhere for Barr. 7 straight balls to start the inning against Martin. Can't be easy showing bunt after you just got hit in your cheek the previous inning, or previous weekend, I should say. That's why he wears that protective mask, and Martin does not even need to drop a bunt down. He walks on 4 pitches. Kurt Barr is so reliable, but the command has failed him starting the 4th.
Yeah, you would think another bunt situation here. Pete Hughes will try to get runners to second, third. This lineup getting ready to turn over yet again. Micah Dean on deck, so we'll see what he does with Bishop, but got to expect bunt here.
Pete Hughes alluded to his first baseman David Bishop being the leader of the team defensively despite being at first. Now he comes up with 2 on, nobody out. That long, slow walk from Tracy Smith. Michigan does have some action down there. There's a good look at Josh Kasner, a true freshman, but has gotten some opportunities because he throws lots of strikes and also throws hard. Will he be coming in here? Tracy Smith, as good as we've seen, Pat, at buying his pitcher's time out in the bullpen. He is,
yeah, sure is,
a true veteran.
Yeah, you'd like to let Kurt Barr pitch to Bishop if indeed you're expecting bunt here, but yeah, they're going to go ahead and make the call to the pen. That'll be it for Barr. 8 straight balls to end his outing. Very uncharacteristic of Kurt Barr, but after recovering from a poor first inning, really not his doing, did a great job of settling in, and he'll exit the game with those 2 runners for K-State. His responsibility, but has yet to give up an earned run in his 3 innings of work.
Has yet to give up an earned run in his 2 starts this year, hoping that Josh Kasner can keep that the same. He comes in with a couple runners inherited in a 2-1 game, bottom of the 4th. The freshman enters after this.
Celebrating 30 meters out. meters on the track, ready to roll. Collegiate National Lead.
In the close there on her inside, but it looks like Shaki could take this front to back. 200-meter final.
Brad Fisher, the American record holder. This is superhuman.
But Holloway crossed the line. He's only 3 100ths outside the world record.
Two-1 Kansas State leads in the bottom of the fourth, have 2 on with nobody out. Kurt Barr's day is done. Josh Kasner had a debut to remember. The true freshman from the state of Michigan came in against Rice a week ago today. Got 5 outs, didn't give up a hit, and he got the win. He was pitching in the 8th inning, then his team came back, scored 5 runs in that frame, gave him the win in his first ever outing. And we expect to see a lot of fastballs, don't we, Pat?
Yeah, really solid, too. And fastball sits 92-94 with some good run. Also mixes in a slider and a changeup, both in the upper 70s. But yeah, he is a strike thrower.
First pitch grounded to the left side. Casillas, Voit on to Ibarra, and he hangs on. 1 pitch, 2 outs from Josh Kasner with the twin killing.
Yeah, great turn up the middle, by the middle of the infield for Michigan. Benny Casillas does a good job, makes a nice clean backhand, and a great turn at second base by Voit. Had to get rid of it quickly with Maximus Martin bearing in on him, and did a good job. So 1 pitch, double play ball from the arm of Kasner. He'll take it.
Brings up Micah Dean at the top of the order. Bounces a curveball in the dirt. Only 2 runs Kurt Barr gave up in the first inning were unearned. 3 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 3+ innings for Barr. But if Kasner gets Dean out here, it would be 2 starts without allowing an earned run for Kurt Barr.
Yeah, just huge for the Michigan team as well. Get out of another pickle here in the 4th inning. Definitely a momentum changer here if Kasner can get them back to the dugout.
Fly to right field. Back goes Turner, watching this ball into his glove. What a job by Josh Kasner out of the bullpen. Needs just 4 pitches to get 3 outs. Stays a 2-1 game as we go to the 5th. A lot of high fives on the Michigan side for their new pitcher, Josh Kasner.
I don't feel right unless the odds against me. Back against the wall with my strength. Yeah.
There's an old saying, everything's bigger in Texas. Well, let's just say, IndyCar is about to go to a whole nother level.
Get ready, Arlington. This is where history is made and champions are born.
2-1 K-State to the 5th inning as the Amegy Bank College Baseball Series presented by Kubota continues. It's bringing the heat to Globe Life Field next weekend for our 3rd weekend of action. 4 elite programs, Oregon State, Auburn, Baylor, and Ohio State are set to battle it out in an epic early season clash. Can't make it to the ballpark? Catch every pitch, every play, and every clutch moment live on Flo College. How about Pat Combs' Baylor Bears? They shut out a good Gonzaga team yesterday.
They did. Yeah,
5-0 on the season.
It's an incredible start for Baylor, and Mitch Thompson has the Bears playing well. That's going to be a fun weekend.
Yes, it
Great
will.
baseball coming in with Auburn, Oregon State, Ohio State, and Baylor.
Slider just misses to Cade Ladahoff. Would you like a score update today, or you
got one?
I do have one.
Give it.
3-2 Bears in the 4th inning.
How about it? 4-0 victory yesterday. Baylor left-hander Ethan Calder off to a great start.
That's great to see. We watched Baylor in this tournament last year, and they were really struggling out of the gates. Not so much this year, as this fastball is just inside the Ladahoff, and it's 3-0. But we've also seen programs like Kansas State come here and really struggle. K-State was in this tournament. We called them in 2022. They got swept. But here they are a few years later. Things have really turned around, coming off their first super regional appearance in a dozen years with that 3-0 fastball in there.
Yeah, great to see for Pete Hughes and his staff. You know, it's a Kansas State team for a long time that hadn't had much respect in the Big 12, and they have certainly changed minds and heads with the way they have played these last few seasons.
Leadoff walk, though, to Cade Ladahoff. Pete Hughes will not like to see that Michael Quevedo, who had such good command early, has now issued 3 walks in the last 2 innings.
And that stuff is catching on the heels of Kurt Barr's 2 leadoff walks last inning.
Quevedo, who went about 82 pitches in his first outing, he's up to 73. K-State has gotten a couple arms ready in the pen. Ibarra, a little half swing up the middle. Inoue can't get there. Seeing eye single on an excuse me attempt by Jeter Ibarra. He doesn't care. Michigan has first and third with nobody out.
Yeah, second hit of the day for Ibarra, and you're exactly right. It looked like Inoue was pulled over towards first base. Yeah, had a long way to go to get there. Just no chance for him. Not a lot on that ground ball, that check swing there, but just enough to get it into center field. And just like that, Michigan with runners at first and third, no outs.
And have the man they want at the plate, Mitch Voigt. That brings Pete Hughes with that slow walk out to the mound.
Yeah, we saw that the matchup here that K-State did not like Quevedo pitching to Voigt. Walked him in the first inning. I often see the intentional walks handed out in the first, but yeah, Pete Hughes says we got to go to a better matchup here.
To the K-State bullpen, just like Michigan, Kurt Barr pulled after the first 2 reach in the bottom of the 4th for K-State. Same deal for Michael Quevedo, whose day is done. 4+ innings of work, excuse me, for him as we play in the top of the 5th. New reliever for Kansas State. We'll tell you about him in a 1-run game right after this. Wildcats lead by 1 in the 5th, but in a pickle as Dante Lewis enters the fray out of the bullpen. We watched him bat leadoff yesterday for the Wildcats. He is a exciting two-way freshman, makes his second pitching appearance of the season, and will show off a big arm bat in just a couple minutes.
Yeah, just a electric fastball. It's a mid-90s. He's touched 95, 96 in the fall. Pete Hughes could not be more excited about this freshman arm and thinks it could be a part of the future rotation here at Kansas State, but called upon here to get the Wildcats out of a pickle. First and third situation with no outs.
How do you like this assignment? Mitch Voigt, first guy you have to face.
One of the best college hitters in baseball, and not afraid to stick his freshman into a situation like this.
2 on, nobody out. First pitch in for a strike. This is what Mitch Voigt did yesterday. Didn't even catch all of it, but he still went yard.
Backside home run, and he'll be looking to do that against Lewis.
Watches another slider. Starts off speed to Mitch Voigt.
Man, 2 bangers in a row to Voigt.
Three infielders on the left side with 2 strikes. Bounces that slider.
And staying with that pitch, you'd like to see fastball in here. Try to change the direction and maybe get one in on the hands of Mitch Voigt. Can always come back to the slider if you miss.
Swing and a miss. Wow. Welcome to the game, Dante Lewis.
Yeah, high heat. Had him set up beautifully. Had the 3 sliders down in the zone. 2 up catch the strike zone, then goes up above the hands of Mitch Voigt. That is just absolute gas from Dante Lewis.
Now you've gotten through the top 4 of the Michigan order. It's Noah Miller getting a start today as the backup catcher. Watches a curveball just miss inside. Lewis was the starter midweek and had just rotten luck behind him. Did not get out of the first inning against North Carolina, but it was not his fault. Defense let him down, gave up 4 runs, all unearned in 35 pitches.
Well, now he's got the double play situation set up, but needs to keep Ibarra close at first base. That's one thing the Cats have not done a good job of, is holding runners. Made it awfully tough on their catcher, Bear Madliak, last couple of days.
High fly ball, shallow left field, long run for 3 different defenders. It's right on the edge of fair territory. Caught, then dropped on the transfer, so that will stand as an out. Maximus Martin makes it just into foul territory and not deep enough for Ladahoff to try and tag.
Yeah, great job by Martin just to get over. Called off his third baseman, D. Kennedy. Had the better angle on it. You can see clearly trying to make the transfer from the glove to the hand, so it will count as the second out. Now Tracy Smith wants to get an explanation from third base umpire John Bramer. I think it was the right call. You could see him almost trying to flip the ball out of his glove, trying to make a quick transfer to his throwing arm. He was concerned about Cade Ladahoff tagging up from third base.
Tracy Smith chatting, as you mentioned, with John Bramer. You see the smattering of Michigan fans. A lot of the boos are from the Arkansas fans. They're here early. They're ready to rock for their big game tonight, the top 25 showdown between Arkansas and TCU. And they're in that, standing behind that visitors dugout. That's where Arkansas will be. So they're helping to cheer on Michigan. And now Tracy Smith is coming back out there to third.
Well, you've got a convention at the mound as well. Pete Hughes trying to set his defense. How will they work this first and third play if Michigan has something put on to let Ibarra take off from first base? And now John Bramer is heading over to get the umpires gathered. There may be a possible challenge here from Tracy Smith.
Clint Fagan at second. John Wolf first, the rest of the crew. I just don't know how in a situation like that you win the challenge definitively. And it was pretty obvious to us in real time that that was an obvious catch, obvious transfer, and the drop, which has become pretty common now in baseball, both college and professional.
Yeah. Now you go back to the rule part of the catch is you've got to make a successful, pull from the glove. It's going to be interesting to see how if this is overturned. I don't think it will be, but if it is overturned, it'll say, hey, the ball was not pulled from the glove with the throwing hand. I think that's what Tracy Smith's argument is.
As of now, it does not look like they will go to review. And there's the explanation from John Bramer.
Yeah, Smith's going to lose that argument. Doesn't look happy about it, but I think it's the right call.
Well, even if they were allowed to challenge that and went to review, that was in foul territory. So at the very least, it would just be a foul ball. Obviously, you'd still want that if you're Michigan, but it's not like you'd have some drop in fair territory and you'd have a runner scoring. Colby Turner, check swing foul. More than anything, if you're Tracy Smith, you just have to be frustrated with how this inning has devolved. You had runners on first and third, your best hitter at the plate, unable to get even one run across. Now toward the bottom of the order with Colby Turner. Another foul back.
Yeah, time a sinking fastball coming in at 91 on the gun, and no movement yet from Jeter Ibarra at first base. Now with 2 strikes, will Tracy Smith put a play on? Trying to steal a run here.
Check swing, ball gets to the backstop. They throw down to first, and it's in time. Well, Turner offered. He was a little slow to start running down to first, and Madliak able to find the ball right away.
Yeah, great job by Bear Madliak to recover, get to the ball, and make a perfect throw to first base. That keeps Michigan off the board. Kansas State still with a 2-1 lead.
Breaking global superstar Shakira, live in Arlington. Las Mujeres Ya No Lloran World Tour. Globe Life Field, June 11th. The phenomenal new album Las Mujeres Ya No Lloran is available everywhere now. Get tickets now at Shakira.com.
Halfway through game number 1 from Globe Life Field with Kansas State up by a run. Your college sports have a home on Flow College. Watch more than 12,000 college sporting events from 100 schools and 12 different conferences only on Flow College. Head to flowcollege.com today to see everything now. Lots of college baseball as we're into this time of year. It's crossover season, as they call it, Pat. If you're an employee of an athletic department,
that's right.
You mentally prepare for this 6-week stretch while basketball is still going on and all the spring sports are underway. But that's where Flow College really shines. All the great events going on. As Lotus works the count to 2-0 starting this bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, it is a tough time of year for broadcast crews. I know at Baylor you've got softball, baseball, men's and women's basketball. It's just, yeah, it's a mess right now trying to get these broadcasts done. But Flo does such a great job, and what a great crew we have with us this weekend.
Lotus taking a called strike on the outer edge. Second inning of work for Josh Kasner. How good have the relief pitchers been so far?
Yeah, they both bailed their clubs out. You know, Kasner comes on with then at first and second, no outs after a couple of walks given up by Barr, and gets the 6-4 to 3 double play and a fly out to right field. And he was not to be outdone by Dante Lewis, who came into a pickle, first and third, no outs.
Does fall behind to Lotus. Taking all the way. Fastball just catches the bottom of the zone, 3-2. Has thrown 2 2/3 innings in his young career. Josh Kasner yet to give up a hit. Fouled straight back.
Yeah, challenge Lotus with a fastball on that full count. Good command of that pitch so far.
Lotus, one of 3 players remaining from that 2022 team. And he shoots one down the line, just foul.
Did not miss by much.
He did not. Well, if you've been on the team since 2022, it's mean you played a lot of games at Globe Life Field. This is the 16th game K-State has played at Globe Life since it opened. Partially these early season tournaments, then you have the Big 12 tourney as well. These guys are used to it. This kind of matches the environment of like an early round tournament game. As Lotus spanks one to left, that's slicing away from Kim. He dives and can't get there. Extra bases for Kyan Lotus. Despite a great effort by Kim.
Yeah, great job by Kim in left field, just trying to get to it. But I was surprised he was pulled over, kind of playing straight up in left field after Lotus had shot a ball down that line. And yeah, Kim just had a long way to go and may have been a tad out of position. Otherwise, he may have been able to catch that. Instead, Lotus will earn the double. Great at bat for him.
D. Kennedy showing bunt, gets it down. Will it stay fair? It will not. Oh man, a good read by Tyler Inge. That was a hold your breath and hope.
Yeah, a good decision by the freshman. And you know, one of those plays, you just have to see the spin on the ball. He saw it kind of spinning towards that line, and had he picked it up, he wouldn't have been able to get D. Kennedy out at first base anyway. So great decision by Inge to let it go foul.
There was that little rut to the left of the chalk. I thought was going to kind of deaden the ball and keep it right there. Michigan awfully fortunate. That thing just leaked. Runner on the move to third. They just miss him. That throw was a good one, but a nice slide by Lotus gets under the tag of Inge.
Yeah, set play after they saw Inge kind of cheating up a little bit from third base, and D. Kennedy squares to bunt. See him just take a couple of steps forward, kind of cheating on that play, and yeah, Kansas State picked it up, and good job by Lotus. Sliding towards the back part of that bag and avoids the tag.
Yeah, Inge never got him.
Well, that's a huge stolen base because now you can let Kennedy swing the bat even though it's an 0-2 count. See how Michigan chooses to play this.
Michigan doing sort of a half-hearted player-only mound visit just to buy their dugout time. Tracy Smith wanting another look there, figuring out if it's a play worth challenging.
Well, and K-State called an offensive timeout. Austin Waits out to talk to his hitter, D. Kennedy. How do they want to play this? I think it's going to depend on how Michigan sets up. If they have the infield pulled in, I think you got to let Kennedy swing it.
Transfer in from Texas, who the coaches love his combination of speed and power. 0-2 count. Curveball down and away.
That's a good pitch from Kasner. He's looking for the strikeout. See if he goes back to that fastball, tries to change the eye level, or if he sticks with the breaking ball.
Blocked. It's a really nice job by Noah Miller on a curveball down in the dirt. Keeps Lotus at third.
Yeah, Miller's been a wall back there today.
Fun chess match going on right now. You had K-State unable to score when they had runners on the corners, nobody out last inning. Same thing happened to Michigan in the top of the 5th. And now K-State with a runner at 3rd, nobody out, and a 1-run game as we play in the 5th. Upstairs on a fastball, 3-2.
Yeah, Kazner's gonna probably come back with that breaking ball. Kazner's mind though, you got to go after Kennedy. You don't want this inning to get away by walking him. Kennedy should get a pitch to hit.
Hits one high to left field. Kim ranging back, looking up. It's out of here. D. Kennedy takes it out as K-State tacks onto the lead.
Yeah, what a 2-strike swing from D. Kennedy, just sitting on that breaking ball. When he got the 2-2 fastball up, you had to think Kazner was going to come back with that slider. That one just kind of spun in the middle of the zone, and D. Kennedy puts a great swing on it. Just barrels that ball up and accounts for a 2-strike, 2-run home run to extend the K-State lead.
Welcome to the Little Apple, D. Kennedy. As this pitch misses high to Seth Dardar. His first home run as a Wildcat. Hit 4 last year with Texas and had a great series against K-State. Dardar now fouls it off.
Yeah, D. Kennedy just, had a low average at Texas and really struggled to get some at-bats. Of course, really a tremendous athlete. And I feel like, he's one of those guys that hits the portal because he wanted to go to a place where he felt like coaches would believe in him, give him a legitimate shot. He has found the home here with K-State.
Now Dardar hits one high and deep to right field. Turner has no chance. Oh, man, Dardar goes back to back.
Yeah, how about that? The Cats going yard here at Globe Life Field. Dardar with another hanging breaking ball. Just not a good pitch from Kazner. He knew right when he hit it. That is extension.
How good must that feel for a guy who missed all the last year with injury? He looks healthy now.
Yeah, he does. He's swinging a big bat.
411 feet over the bullpen in right center.
Yeah, that was a towering home run. And unfortunately for Josh Kazner, learning very quickly, some of those pitches you can get away with in high school, not at this level. Those mistakes oftentimes get hit a long way. And it was the hanging breaking ball to D. Kennedy, and then that ball just kind of hung out over the middle of the plate. Dardar did not miss it.
Mound visit for pitching coach Brock Hunsinger with Max DeBeck getting loose in the pen. It's Nick English coming up for K-State. Takes a called strike. Still nobody out. 3 runs already in for the Wildcats, who now lead at 5-1. Curveball outside. Even though K-State made a super regional last year, it was not really a team with a ton of pop in the bats. They were more of a station to station, kill you with small ball sort of team. Bottom half of the league in homers. As this one's flown out to center. Pace all over it and makes the catch. But when you have such a transfer-laden team, Pat, so many guys to replace, that's what can happen. All of a sudden, a weakness that you had clearly is now a strength from a power perspective.
Yeah, I think it's just plug and play right now, right, with college baseball. You can go to the portal, you can fill some holes, as Pete Hughes and his staff did. Great job just in the recruiting process to know you're going to have a lot of turnover with that K-State lineup. And they had to go out and find some older players, more experienced players, and they did that, and it's paying off. Now, you know, the 1-4 start, yeah, Pete Hughes acknowledged it, said, hey, look, you know, we don't have time to not get out of the gate strong, but we also know we've got a lot of pieces coming together, fresh faces. As we referenced earlier, 20 newcomers wearing a K-State uniform for the first time made their first appearance last weekend.
That will do it for Josh Kasner. It's Max DeBeck, the new hurler, coming in. When we return, K-State up 5-1. Three runs already in the inning for Kansas State with a couple homers. They lead 5-1 in the bottom of the fifth, as it's the second reliever of the game for Michigan. And the well-traveled Max DeBeck sitting in there at 6'7", highly touted two-way player, Pat, but he's been used as a pitcher so far in his time in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, as you can imagine, uses that frame well, produces a low 90s fastball, and that tilt coming in from high to low with that frame, and has a slider, changeup, really good stuff. The question for him has just been the command in the past. If he can command the strike zone, he's got a shot. Got a shot to accumulate innings. A two-way guy that, as you mentioned, bounced around University of Washington, Texas A&M, now finds himself in a Wolverine uniform. And trying to squelch this rally from Kansas State.
Speaking of well-traveled, he faces the native of Japan from Yamaguchi, Shuntaro Inoue. Hit 28 homers over his 2 JUCO seasons. He watches a fastball in for a strike. DeBeck from Seattle originally, stayed close to home, went to Washington, who is now in the Big Ten. So technically he has played at a Big Ten school. Just
That's right.
Not when they were in the conference, and was more of a hitter that freshman year. This one chopped to the left side. Nice job by Inge to take that off the high hop. The throw is high, but the tag is there by Ibarra.
Yeah, great job by the Michigan first baseman. Jeter Ibarra had to go up top to get that throw from Inge. Came down, applied the tag to Inoue. Yeah, good job coming across.
You see the usage of that green bag, new to college baseball this year. We had a little controversy with that last night, Pat, because there was a runner that on a double only made contact with that green bag. So that is not a bag you're allowed to touch if it's not just a straight run through first base. And it, unfortunately for Nick English, resulted in an out, even though he should have had it.
That's right. You saw Inoue just touch that bag, but yeah, that was designed to avoid those collisions on plays like that, where Ibarra's coming off the bag high and trying to come down near that baseline.
Now it's Bear Madliak in a 1-1 count. Chops it to the right side, but it's the long range of DeBeck. He can snatch those things and does so on a hop. Good job by DeBeck coming out of the pen. Gets 2 quick outs. But a big inning for Kansas State, going with the long ball. Not once, but twice as part of a 3-run inning.
Yeah, the blast by D. Kennedy. That was a 2-run bomb, and then back-to-back Seth Dardar. K-State extending their lead 5-1 over Michigan.
Golden Chick's new Golden Bowl is so big, it's a whole lot of yes and a whole lot of yum. So if you like big bowls, then we cannot lie. The new loaded mashed potato bowl is a whole lot of Golden Chick, a big bowl you can't deny.
Woodcraft and their dedicated Amegy business banker work together to put the us in business banking, creating a long-lasting relationship with open and quick communication. Now it's your turn with your own dedicated Amegy business banker with banking experience in your industry, because you're more than a customer. We're more than a bank, and together we'll work to help put your business on solid financial footing with comprehensive financing options, earned interest on your accounts, and yes, the support you need to reach your business goals faster. Here we collaborate. Here you grow.
There's a look at the Michigan dugout. Wolverines need to rally down 5-1 as we head to the 6th inning. Won't be easy against the outstanding freshman Dante Lewis, the two-way player, back for his 2nd inning of work in our first 2 games today. Good to see so many traveling Michigan and Kansas State fans. We have a ton of Arkansas fans. They're already here, as we have Arkansas and TCU later tonight. Dante Lewis struck out 2 in 3 batters he faced in that last inning. Great to see him getting some run, both at the plate pad and now on the mound this weekend.
Yeah, he's been outstanding. I think one of the better young talents here in the Big 12, maybe in college baseball. He can flat fly on the base paths, and of course we saw him in the leadoff role yesterday in the lineup for K-State. Today coming in doing a great job of squelching a rally after Michigan had the first 2 men on base, Ladahoff and Ibarra. And Lewis went strikeout, fly out, strikeout.
It's 1-1 to Benny Casillas. Pokes to the right side. English ranges a couple steps back and makes the play. I would have just assumed that the fastball would be the thing I was most impressed with, but it's the slider that he's established since pitch 1.
Absolute kill pitch, and you saw that first 2 pitches to Mitch Voigt. Nasty sliders that middle of the plate broke down and away for strikes, then just blew the fastball right by him.
How often do you hear a pitcher when talking about, or head coach I should say, when talking about a pitcher who did not get out of the first inning in his first career start, say he looked like he could absolutely belong? But that was the case. Lewis gets a swing and a miss here to Tyler Inge. He didn't get out of the first inning, but the defense was brutal behind him, gave up 4 runs, all unearned. Just wanted to get him out of there before he concurred himself. Was already nearing 40 pitches in that inning alone. Slider inside as it's 1-1. But the takeaway was not, this kid isn't ready. It's, we can't wait to get him out there again.
That's right. Well, easily projectable as part of a rotation for Kansas State. You know, we've seen the slider, we've seen the fastball. Now if he can add that 3rd pitch, the changeup, that's going to be key for him. He wants to accumulate innings in a starting role.
Drop to the left side. Nice high hop for D. Kennedy. His throw a little offline, but the tag is made. David Bishop hanging in there to make the play, and it's 2 up, 2 down.
Yeah, great job by college baseball to add that second base at first. And seen a couple of throws already in this game that could have, had it been last year, could have accounted for an injury. And this one pulling first baseman David Bishop towards that line, and those were the plays where first baseman was trying to reach up and make a catch. Then a runner makes contact with that elbow or arm, and this is a different scenario now.
Back up the middle, stays down for Inoue, makes the play. A lightning fast 1-2-3 6th inning for Dante Lewis. Maintains K-State's 4-run lead. His Wildcats coming back to the plate on the other side. Five-1 Kansas State in the bottom of the 6th as the Arkansas Razorbacks are here looking on an outstanding top 25 showdown coming up next. First pitch slated for 6 p.m. locally here in Arlington, Texas against 22nd ranked TCU. In the meantime, Max DeBeck missing outside to Maximus Martin. And K-State is quickly, Pat, turning into the story of this weekend. They upset Arkansas last night, now up 5-1 on Michigan. That one's in there for a strike.
Yeah, they are, and I don't think it's a surprise. You know, you could say, well, the 1-4 record, but Pete Hughes said, look, you know, we had to replace a lot of bodies last year. You lose, you know, the production in your order from guys like Kalen Culpepper, Brady Day, Brendan Jones. A lot of big names on that offense, but they went out and found some players. They found some older players they could plug and play, and it was just a matter of time before this K-State team came together, and they are doing it this weekend.
Curveball in for a strike to Maximus Martin, one of those newcomers. Slaps one down the line, foul. Off that protective netting down there. Martin is not fazed by seeing another Big Ten team since he started in the Big Ten at Rutgers, then went to Georgia State, now at K-State. And it reflects, to me, Pat, the mentality of these Wildcats. A lot of these transfers, they're clearly solid, but we're maybe a little unheralded, as it was just a top 75 overall recruiting class this year for K-State. Curveball just misses 2-2, but that chip on your shoulder, it should not go unnoticed for a team like this.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and you felt like with the guys that he brought in, Pete Hughes, that you know the talent's there. And you've got guys like D. Kennedy and Dardar. I mean, Madliak, Martin. I mean, these are some really good baseball players that just needed to come to a program where they could get some at-bats, obviously compete for spots. But they do a great job of recruiting. They pick the right guys for their culture.
3-2 count to Maximus Martin. Pete Hughes telling us we don't deal with the transfer portal on the way out. We only deal with it coming in. Guys don't leave once they come here. Called strike 3. DeBeck Joss catches a piece to Martin, who thought it was ball 4.
Yeah, Maximus Martin did not agree with that call from Blake Felix. See on the pitch tracker, like it might have been a tick outside, and it was.
I'd argue as much as you say, well, too close to take, 2 strikes. That one, you're
2 balls out.
Martin, you go out, you're like, hey, look at the pitch track. I can tell you, coach, that was ball 4. David Bishop takes a called strike. Would have been nice to have that back when we were playing, Pat.
Oh, yeah.
As you're a hitter,
exactly.
And you get rung up on a terrible call. Like, Coach, let's look at the printout. I was good.
Yeah, it's bad memories of the Atlanta Braves when you'd have guys like Glavine getting 3-4 balls out. Right? Greg Maddox, same way. I mean, guys obviously could control the strike zone really well, but yeah, back in the day before you had these pitch tracker and TrackMan, it was, man, sometimes you'd see pitches rung up 3-4 balls off the plate.
1-1 to David Bishop. That just catches the outside edge, also maybe a little outside. You're probably sitting there as a Phillies pitcher watching these guys get the calls, and you're like, where is this when I'm coming into the game? Come on, man.
That was often the thought, right?
Jams him inside, Inge charging. Bobbles, but collects to make the play. After a little double clutch, and it's 2 up, 2 down for DeBeck out of the pen.
Yeah, great job by Max DeBeck. He's coming in and just pounding the strike zone. This is really what you wanted to see if you're Tracy Smith, bringing a guy like this in. And, hey, can we refine his mechanics, get him to start to repeat more, and really just simplify himself, mechanically so he can repeat. And we're seeing that so far. DeBeck making a great transition to a strike thrower.
Faces Micah Dean. Gets ahead. Another pitch, right? Just off the outside edge. Gets the call with a curveball. You know who Max DeBeck reminds me of a little bit is Chris Young, the former super tall pitcher with 6'11", and he has a similar arm angle. He brings it just over the top straight away. Really hard to pick up that action as he finds the zone again with a curveball.
Yeah, kind of hides the ball really well behind his head there, and yeah, tough to pick up. And you kind of had the sense with DeBeck, the kind of stuff he has, if he could just ever figure out the strike zone and the command, this was going to be a real find.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss. Curveball, fastball as he retires Dean on 3 pitches. A 1-2-3 inning for Max DeBeck as we go to the 7th. K-State as we head to the 7th. The awesome freshman two-way player Dante Lewis back out there for a 3rd inning of work. This is what it looked like when he came into the game, Pat. Runners on 1st and 3rd, nobody out, 1-run game at the time. And he absolutely dealt in a huge spot.
Oh, he sure did. And against the middle of this Michigan lineup, too, one of the better hitters in college baseball, Mitch Boyd strikes out, gets the pop-up in foul territory off of Noah Miller. And then punches out Colby Turner. Check swing, which was ruled a strike. It was a swinging strike, and the catcher Bear Madley corrals it, throws to first base, and Dante Lewis gets out of a jam.
Now faces the top of the order with Jonathan Kim. 1 for 3 today, 4 for 8 this weekend. And he fouls one off on the first pitch. Can't help but wonder if on that strikeout and the throw down to first, had Turner realized it right away. If he ran, you watch that replay again, Pat, he very well could have beat that out. It would have tied the game.
Yeah, much closer, and you're exactly right. Could have changed the inning.
Fastball just outside. Instead, Lewis got out of that top half of the fifth, and then K-State hit back-to-back homers. D. Kennedy and Seth Dardar to open this thing up, give them a little breathing room.
And you saw the home plate umpire, Blake Felix, signal for some help from first base umpire John Wolf. Wolf actually made the call on the swing by Turner, and yeah, could have certainly come out different had Turner taken off if Felix would have made the call.
It's a 1-2 count to Kim after the slider. Just catches a piece.
Now, about the pitchability of Dante Lewis so far, just pounding the strike zone.
Just 16 pitches in his first 2 innings of relief, Dante Lewis.
12 of those for strikes.
Back up the middle, under the glove of Lewis, but it pops right up to Inoue, who makes the play for the first out.
Yeah, Lewis tried to grab that. Probably a good thing he didn't touch it. Inoue was positioned perfectly, and it's one of those plays that can glance off the pitcher's glove and end up in no man's land. K-State doing a good job of shifting their defense, putting their infielders in great position.
Especially because the last 3 balls against Dante Lewis that had been put in play all on the ground. Cade Ladehoff, the 2-hole hitter, watches a fastball high. When you watch a super explosive freshman athlete wearing a Kansas State uniform like Dante Lewis, you can't help but think back to when you and I were sitting in this booth 4 years ago, 2022. A young man by the name of Tyson Neighbors made his college debut. This one's in there for a strike. This past summer gets drafted in the 4th round and emerged as one of the best closers in college baseball.
Yeah, had a great college career, and yeah, one of those guys that kind of flew under the radar being recruited out of high school, but came in with a great slider and then added a nasty breaking ball and a fastball that was already, low 90s when he got here. Ended up at 96, 97 mile-an-hour fastball before he left. And now getting a chance at the next level. Yeah, potentially a future big leaguer for sure.
Shot just foul by Ladehoff as it's 1-2. Will Dante Lewis become the next in the lineage of recent K-State pitchers to have tremendous success and go on to the pros? He's ahead 1-2. Fought off foul.
Yeah, he definitely has closer type stuff, and it's going to be interesting to see what Pete Hughes and his staff do with him. Rudy Darrow, the pitching coach, is going to say everything he can to say, can you give him to me full time? We'd like to start him, maybe close him, but we got to keep his arm fresh. Try to keep him out of that everyday lineup. Yeah, I think he's going to make some money on the mound.
Hit leadoff yesterday. It wasn't like he was a pinch hitter or something like that. Back up the box, again under his glove, and again it pops perfectly to Inoue, who makes the play. 2 up, 2 down on a couple of 4-3 putouts.
Yeah, how about these scouting reports? Pulling their second baseman, Shintaro Inoue, over to almost behind the bag at second base for Kim and Ladehoff. Great reports, great defensive placement. Dante Lewis continuing to pound the strike zone.
The last Wolverine to get a base hit was Jeter Ibarra last time he came up. Takes a changeup outside. And he's now the last Wolverine in the starting lineup to face Dante Lewis. That's how good Lewis has been.
Yeah, how about the freshman looking over towards his dugout, shaking off the pitch? Oh, you love that.
Yeah. Pete Hughes going, all right, okay. Another ground ball. This one at Maximus Martin, the shortstop. Dante Lewis making it look easy. Gets a second straight 1-2-3 inning. We invite you to keep it here. Join us. It's the 7th inning stretch presented by Amegy Bank as Kansas State leads at 5-1. That was the 7th inning stretch brought to you by Amegy Bank, with Kansas State leading Michigan 5-1. A lot of Arkansas fans already here. Got TCU in the building, making the short drive over from Fort Worth. Even a Wisconsin sweatshirt pad in the stands. How about that? There we go. Get my home state represented.
Oh, yeah.
Big Ten in the house here today. As K-State, though, has been the dominant team, and it really all happened in this 5th inning.
Yeah, how about the 2-run homer by D. Kennedy? That was a 2-strike swing. And then right behind him, Seth Dardar with a no-doubter as he slams the bat down. He knew it when he hit it. High up into the stands in right field. Just like that, K-State extended their lead up by 4.
And we will see both of them in this bottom of the 7th. K-State getting those 3 runs for much-needed insurance. They gave up a single run in the 1st inning. Since then, the pitching has been rock solid for Pete Hughes' club. The curveball missing outside to Kyan Lotus. And entering the weekend, you looked at the 3 of the 4 teams being undefeated. You thought, man, for K-State, not a good time to be struggling at 1-4 against 3 undefeated teams. As that one's on the outside edge, and yet here they've come, and they've looked like the most impressive group of the 4.
No, they really have. All phases of the game. They've played clean baseball and defensively. They've gotten great pitching. And then the hitting has been timely. They've gotten some big hits, especially late in that game yesterday to beat Arkansas. What a job. I mean, it's just like baseball, though. You just never know. You know, any given weekend, a team that had struggled out the gate like the Wildcats did last weekend in Coastal Carolina, and they come into town, and I think there was a lot of motivation, chip on their shoulder, of course, playing in a place that they're familiar with here at Globe Life Field, but they certainly have looked like the best team in the tournament so far.
Lotus watches the 1-2 curveball bounce in the dirt, 2-2. Max DeBeck at this point just hoping to get through the innings clean, eat up some innings, as Michigan has used 7 different relievers over the last 2 games. Just outside on a 1-2 curve. Making a 2-2 curve. Now we're full at 3-2.
Well, if K-State can get the win here, they'll face off against conference foe TCU tomorrow. Now that's going to be an interesting matchup because they do not play during Big 12 conference play this year.
The 3-2 upstairs. Lotus works his way back from down 1-2 to draw a leadoff walk.
Yeah, Lotus got things started back in the 5th prior to D. Kennedy's home run. Hit the double. Just kept tailing away from Jonathan Kim in left field. So here comes the middle of this Wildcat lineup. They have been good today.
D. Kennedy fresh off his first career home run as a Kansas State Wildcat. Hit 4 last year as a freshman for the Texas Longhorns. And Kennedy shoots one to the right side, but into the waiting glove of Colby Turner for a quick first out.
Yeah, good approach by Kennedy that time, trying to keep those hands back, thinking he might get a breaking pitch from DeBeck. That slider kind of backed up on him on the inside and got in on the hands of Kennedy.
All right, nice sigh from Max DeBeck. He got through one of the big K-State boppers. Now he has to face the lefty, Seth Dardar, who has been on 5 times over the last 2 games. Big wave and a miss. Had a fastball, 0-1.
Well, that's where you got to pitch Dardar. You got to stay away from him until he starts to stay closed and shows you he can drive that ball opposite field. Big swings. He's really opened up that front side. He's looking for something to pull.
Fouls it off. We didn't see this yesterday because it was just a raw, overcast, mid-30-degree day outside, but we're in that super unique part of the day where you do have the sun coming through the outfield window panes. And right now, Max DeBeck, he's kind of, you can't really tell from that angle, but he's basically illuminated in like a little circle of sunshine. Makes it a little odd if you're hitting against him.
He's got the halo effect going, and pitch coming from the sunlight into the shade.
There you go. There's the halo.
All 6'7" of him.
That shadow looks longer than 6'7" as well. There's a good look at the environs here at Globe Life Field. DeBeck has been really good since cleaning things up in the 5th inning. Bounces one in the dirt, a quick trigger to run, and it pays off. Lotus going as soon as that ball was in the dirt. I think it surprised Noah Miller a little bit as he double clutched and then could not recover in time.
Yeah, it was a great read by Kyan Lotus. That ball was in the dirt. He took off right away. Yeah, Miller just could not get the handle of it. Oh, it kind of popped out of his hand, but would have had a shot at him had he made a clean transfer. Aggressive play by Lotus.
The 1-2. Cracked foul off the bat of Dardar. It's interesting watching Max DeBeck because even though this is his 4th school and 3rd different D1 college, he is a veteran in that sense. But Pat, he's only pitched a couple times in his career. He didn't pitch at all at Texas A&M. He redshirted there. At Washington, he was exclusively a hitter. And now here he is at Michigan.
Yeah, I think he had a lot to prove in terms of just being able to command the zone. And, you know, the stuff was always there, but just kind of getting him dialed in.
Just misses outside on 1 and 2.
It's just harder when you're 6'7". You just got a lot of these arms and legs flying all over the place and trying to repeat those mechanics.
It finally came together for him last year at the JUCO level in California. 47 Ks in 27 innings. Breaking ball blocked well by Miller, and the count runs full.
Yeah, a couple of good sliders in the dirt from DeBeck, and Seth Dardar's just seeing the ball really well right now. To stay off those pitches just shows you he is locked in.
Dardar this weekend, 3 walks, a single, and the 5th inning solo homer that went 412 feet. Stays on that curveball foul.
Yeah, I got to tip the cap to Brock Hunsiger, the pitching coach from Michigan. To be able to develop a pitcher like DeBeck, knowing he could really help you, and this guy could projectable be, you know, part of that rotation at some point.
The 3-2 from DeBeck. Good battle developing between he and Seth Dardar. And it's not like Michigan returned everybody either this year. They lost 2 of their top weekend pitchers, including Jacob Denner, who finished his career top 5 in Michigan history in career innings and strikeouts. Had 10 seniors from a veteran club a year ago. But Tracy Smith now in his 3rd year. He's really brought in his guys now for the first time. And DeBeck part of that transition. Cracked to right field, but a little in on the hands. Not quite like that homer to right field last time up. Turner the catch on the edge of the track. Lotus tags and goes to 3rd. Another good pitch by DeBeck as he wins that battle.
Yeah, great job by Max DeBeck just to keep his composure. You get into a long battle, especially with a hot hitter like Dardar, and just did a good job of continuing to make pitch after pitch. That time gets the fastball in. Got it off the barrel and gets the fly out. Great job of just staying with it.
And now gets the righty-righty matchup with Nick English. 2 outs in this bottom of the 7th. Just outside on a curveball. Michigan really counting on guys like Max DeBeck, and they have to love the early returns here for a staff that had an ERA of over 6.15 a season ago and struggled with nearly as many walks as strikeouts as a staff. That one's in there for a called strike. It's not like the Big Ten got any easier either.
That's right. Well, and Tracy Smith even told us, you know, it's A lot of great arms down there in the bullpen. He likes the depth this year. Got a lot of good choices. Now it's just trying to figure out the puzzle pieces, right? Who's going to pitch where, when. It's kind of the roles are being established here early this 25 season.
Curveball laid off by English, 2-1. There's a good look at Tracy Smith down in the dugout. Had a great career at Miami of Ohio in the late 80s. Got drafted by the Cubs. Spent 3 years in the minor league organization. In there, called strike, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, Tracy said, you know, we've passed the eyeball test, right? We got off to a great start. Everything looks great on paper. But even with those 4 wins last weekend, we're still trying to figure some things out. A lot left to determine. That's why these are early season outings by these relievers will go a long way. Ring them up.
And a called strike 3. DeBeck gets the call from Blake Felix. Nick English doesn't agree, but an impressive relief outing by Max DeBeck keeps the game a 4-run margin.
Yeah, another look at that pitch on English. Yeah, great framing by Noah Miller. You can see him just get underneath that pitch and lift it up. Might have been a tick low, but DeBeck with great command. They need some runs, Michigan does.
Back at Globe Life Field in Arlington, a 5-1 lead for Kansas State going to the 8th inning. And the Amegy Bank College Baseball Series presented by Kubota continues during the midweek with a great top 25 matchup. Third-ranked LSU taking on number 20 Dallas Baptist. It's this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central. Catch all the action right here on Flo College. Pumped for that one. LSU will be well rested. They actually moved their Sunday game up to today, playing a doubleheader against Omaha because of bad weather. While DBU off to a good start, 4-1. They're also playing a doubleheader today. Just beat SIU Edwardsville 14-2. A couple good programs, LSU and DBU. Especially as far as midweeks go. Man, that's good.
That's a great matchup. Yeah, that should be well attended. And great job by the Rev guys to get these top 25 matchups. Of course, we'll see one here tonight, just after this game. Arkansas and TCU on deck.
Mitch Voigt takes a slider down to start this top of the 8th. Michigan, if they will rally, needed to start here with their stud. And Voigt gets a pop-up. Long run for English coming in, and he makes the basket catch. Now, he was playing Voigt awfully deep, and for good reason, but running nearly to the edge of the infield to make out number 1.
Yeah, infield was pulled around, so yeah, Shintaro Inoue was way back behind second base, and English was the only guy who could get to that ball and had a long run. And his back had some green paint on it before he was stationed with Voigt.
English, I'm sure, already a little frustrated still after getting rung up to end last inning on a borderline pitch. He's going, man, how far do you want me to run here? But he makes the play.
Yeah, big first out. Dante Lewis, second time around this lineup. See if Michigan can handle him differently.
Pinch hitter for the Wolverines, Matt Spear, who started the game at catcher yesterday. He replaces his backup, Noah Miller, who got the start today but was 0 for 3. And Tracy Smith looking for some sort of spark right now toward the back end of the order. Spear watches a changeup just miss. 2-0.
How about the poise and the command of Dante Lewis? 3 2/3 innings in relief of Quevedo, and all he's done is throw 25 strikes out of 35 pitches.
This is the only time we've seen him fall behind in a count. 3-0 to Spear. Last night, Kansas State got brilliance out of a bullpen arm. Blake Dean went 3 2/3 out of the pen, struck out 5 to get the win. Only reliever they used. As that's in there for a strike.
Yeah, Lewis is thinking no free passes with this 4-run lead. Make Michigan earn everything.
Wild strike. 3-2.
How about the long hold? He held that for about 6 seconds after he came set. It just got to mess with the hitter's timing. Man, just the poise of this freshman pitcher.
Fouled back. 3-2.
Yeah, a couple of pitches in a row. He's just waited until that pitch clock has gotten down to 1. Then made his delivery. Either that or he's got a really good internal clock in his head.
Whatever's happening, it's working. Check swing. He went. Would have been ball 4, but Spear could not hold up.
How about that fastball inside? Yeah, definitely would have been ball 4. It was off the plate, but Spear with the check swing could not quite hold it. Yeah, that was definitely a swing.
Two up, 2 down. Should also point out while Lewis is just shoving right now, K-State has made a couple defensive changes. They just moved Kyan Lotus from left over to right. So he was the one who actually made that catch to start the inning. This fastball just misses inside. It's another pinch hitter, A.J. Roush, who got the start yesterday in right field, then was replaced by Colby Turner. Now the roles are reversed today. Half swing and a strike. So K-State moves Lotus from left to right. Micah Dean stays in. He moves from center to left. And we have a new center fielder, Caden Carl, out there. There's a good look at Caden as it's a 1-1 count. And you wonder if Lewis continues this. He's at 39 pitches right now. Do you do what Pete Hughes did yesterday? Just let your relievers dealing. Just keep on rolling.
No
finish
doubt.
out the game.
No doubt. Yeah, he'll finish this game if he can. I think that's a no-brainer. Now you've got a
might as well.
Really fresh bullpen for tomorrow. Yeah, this is not a situation where you go, hey, let's get another arm in just so we can see another arm. It's no, you got to win every game you play, and right now Dante Lewis is locked and loaded.
Showing bunts, pulled back and takes a called strike. That's when you know a guy has got the good stuff. You're showing bunts with nobody on and 2 outs down by 4 runs. But that's the predicament Michigan is in. They're desperate for anything.
Yeah, they just need base runners. Try to get something going, get the defense moving.
The 2-2. Punch to right field and a chance for Carl, who's just into the game. Lotus calls him off and makes the catch. Dante Lewis has come into this game and retired 12 straight batters. Filthy stuff for the freshman as we go to the bottom of the 8th. We head to the bottom of the 8th. K-State on top of Michigan 5-1. And a new hurler into the game for the Wolverines. It's the freshman from Windsor in Ontario, Canada, Tate Carey. Gets an opportunity. Another young arm we've seen for head coach Tracy Smith's squad. A lot to like about these freshmen, including Tate Carey.
Yeah, great arms. We saw one earlier where Josh Kastner didn't get the results he wanted today, but yeah, Tate Carey very similar with that low 90s fastball, and really working on that secondary offering. Has a slider, has a changeup. Really, the command of a secondary pitch is going to be key for him as this season moves along, but definitely another highly talented arm out of Tracy Smith's bullpen.
He faces 6, 7, and 8 in the Kansas State order. Shintaro Inoue has a hit and a run batted in over these last 2 games. K-State riding 2 crooked numbers, scored 2 runs on a couple Michigan errors in the first inning to retake the lead after Michigan struck first, and then back-to-back homers, won a 2-run bomb to put some breathing room for the Wildcats. As Inoue takes a fastball just inside. Taking, and it's in there, 1-1. Well, the second pitcher from Canada we've seen today for Michigan. Kurt Barr, the starter, grew up just on the Canada side of the Detroit area, and he would actually commute to the U.S. every day for high school, as this fastball is just high. Not quite the same for Tate Carey from Windsor, also in the Ontario province, not too far from Toronto, but he had unbelievable pedigree coming up. Misses outside of the changeup, pitching for Team Canada in their U18 World Cup qualifiers. And a guy that Tracy Smith is super high on with the stuff. Behind here, 3-1, and he gets a foul back.
Well, we've got the Hawaiian connection with Arkansas, with the Alloy brothers. Now we've got the Ontario connection with Michigan and their pitching staff. Pretty impressive.
And Tate's mom, Shayna, played tennis at Hawaii, so it all comes full circle.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Fouled off on 3 and 2.
Let's put those stories together.
She started there, then went to the university in Windsor, where she met Tate's dad, Steve. He was on the basketball team there. And Canada, especially last decade or so, has produced some amazing baseball talent. Michigan trying to tap into that, being so close to the border. Fastball, though, misses inside, and it's a leadoff walk to Inoue. Just Carey's second appearance this season as a freshman. He came into that blowout win, the 19-0 victory for Michigan last weekend, and threw 2 perfect innings. And a lot of these Michigan young pitchers are finding out a little bit different when you're trying to play from behind, protect a lead against a really smart, well-hitting team in K-State as Madliak takes a strike.
Yeah, great opportunity, though, for some of these freshmen to get out there, get some experience under their belt. And I think what you're seeing is 3 years of now Tracy Smith and his staff recruiting well. And we're talking about Jake Valentine, and really good hitting coach, but really good recruiting coordinator for the Wolverines. And Brock Hunsinger, the pitching coach, Ty Neal. Those guys hit the road. They have rebuilt this roster. Eric Bakich left, took a number of players with him, and then just like any time you have a coaching change, just get players that look to leave and go find different opportunities. And you just kind of knew it's a matter of time for Tracy Smith and his staff to get the players that they wanted. Now we're starting to see the fruit of that here. This 4-1 start to the season. And a lot more depth to talent than we've seen last couple of seasons from Michigan.
Madliak fouled that one off, coming inside on him. It's a reuniting of sorts for Ty Neal. First year now as an assistant for Tracy Smith, who was Smith's pitching coach at Indiana back when the Hoosiers made their first run to the College World Series in program history. That's upstairs, 2-2.
I'm really impressed with this catcher for Kansas State, Bear Madliak, and done a great job behind the dish defensively, but He's kind of anchoring the bottom three of this lineup. Had some good at-bats.
Continues to do the same as he spoils that one foul. And a great example of sometimes the plan doesn't necessarily work out. He's a Georgia kid. Got a chance to go play for his home state team in the SEC, was a Georgia Bulldog, but on a stacked roster, no opportunity for playing time. Redshirted, didn't play as a freshman, then transferred out. Runner going, the 2-2 swung on and missed. Throw to second is just laid. With Inoue on the move, and he steals his second base of the year.
Yeah, watch the throw from Spear behind the plate. Comes up and almost makes contact with Madliak, but Madliak holds just long enough, and good job by Inoue to slide to the back part of that bag. Tag just a bit late from Voigt. Puts himself in scoring position. K-State looking for some more cushion.
A great job to keep his foot on the side of the bag. As the slider is in the dirt, Maximus Martin at the plate. Finds the edge, 1-1 as we play in a 5-1 game. Kansas State on top of Michigan. We figure Dante Lewis will go out there for a 5th inning of work, has yet to allow a hit when we come back for the top of the 9th. Wave and a miss here on 1-1.
Yeah, Dante Lewis, perfect so far. 4 innings, perfect ball, 3 punch outs. Still some work to do for Tate Carey.
That one's grounded to the right side. Easy hop for Voigt, who makes the play. That was a good job by Inoue to steal that bag, because that would have been a tailor-made double play ball had he not moved over to second. And now David Bishop comes up, the only player in this program with College World Series experience. Made it to Omaha when he was a member of the TCU Horned Frogs a couple years ago. And transfers to K-State, and what do you know it? They make their first super regional in a dozen years. It's almost like David Bishop is conducive to winning, and he's done that his whole career.
Yeah, he's really impressive defensive player at first base. You heard Pete Hughes say earlier today in the interview that he really runs our defense. He positions guys, moves guys over, reminds them where to be. Of course, that's all talked about pregame, but Bishop with the eye to see where guys need to go.
Slow roller. Casillas charges, makes a nice play. And after a leadoff walk, Carey retires the next 3. 5-1 lead for Kansas State. We'll see if Dante Lewis can close it out when we return. Five-1 Kansas State going to the 9th. It will not be Dante Lewis looking to close out the game, but you could not have asked for anything more. You're that man sitting to his right, Pete Hughes. 4 perfect innings.
Yeah, that was electric stuff. I mean, we knew what to expect with that mid-90s fastball in the slot. But again, it all working today. And just love the poise of that young freshman pitcher, Dante Lewis. He was fantastic.
Well, Pete Hughes knows what he's doing. He's only won 822 career baseball games. Two-time Big East Coach of the Year at Boston College. He started at the D1 level at a place not known for much baseball success, but he's a Massachusetts guy. One of 4 NCAA teams he's led to the big dance. Went to Va Tech, made it twice, then Oklahoma for 4 years, and now in his 7th year in Manhattan at K-State. He makes the call to go to the pen, and it is James Guyette, sophomore from California, who pitched a little bit last year, but the book on Guyette is, especially that with so many newcomers and holes to fill, that Guyette could get a lot more time, especially in more high leverage spots, and this definitely counts today.
Oh yeah, certainly could. I was a little surprised Dante Lewis didn't come back out just because he was rolling so well, but Pete Hughes looks down and says, hey, we're trying to establish some roles early in the season. And he believes Guyette's going to be his closer, potentially could be, but made a huge jump in the offseason. Worked with pitching coach Rudy Darrow and worked to lower that arm slot where he picked up some velocity. Now his fastball went from low 90s to mid 90s with a bunch of life on it. And he's got one of those sweeping sliders and has kind of remade himself here in the last year. Great stats out of the Appalachian League where he pitched in the summer. Punched out 41 in only 23 innings.
See that new look arm slot as his curveball sweeps in there for a strike. Swing and a miss to Benny Casillas, bottom of the order here for Michigan. It's been a mixed bag so far for Guyette, and that's where you figure those adjustments, you might not see the fruits of the labor immediately, but he was really good in his first appearance. Got 5 outs, all without a hit against St. Joseph's in the win last weekend. Here are the curveballs outside, but got roughed up midweek, and just one of those games where things spiraled on him. He was the losing pitcher as a good start could not hold up for K-State as they lost 12-9 to North Carolina, and he gave up 5 runs in his inning of work.
Yeah, Michigan needs base runners, and Casillas trying to get something going here.
Fouls it off.
Sure, the Wolverines are just glad Dante Lewis is off the mound.
Yeah, I'll say. One of just 3 Wolverines who's reached base multiple times. Benny Casillas has a single, a walk, and a stolen base. Punch back up the middle. Carl got a late jump coming in and slides to make the catch. The defensive replacement out in center pays off for K-State.
Yeah, great job by Caden Carl. It took that step back. Yeah, I kind of misread it a bit. He's flashing over to Kai and Lotus. Say, yeah, I knew what I did there, but nice recovery, makes the sliding catch in center field, and that's the big first out here in the 9th.
Our first look this weekend at Caden Carl, the redshirt sophomore from Edmond, Oklahoma, hasn't had a chance at the plate, but can make a big impact in other ways and does so with that catch. As we get a pinch hitter on the Michigan side, Cole Caruso replaces Tyler Inge and takes a called strike on that sweeping curveball. Caruso hit in the 6th hole yesterday, had a good game, 2 for 4. Couple of base knocks, including a double and a run scored. But he's behind in the count, 0-2.
Yeah, good breaking ball by Guyette. He's got the slider, he's got more tight spin to it. He's got the sweeping breaking ball. There it
got him. So hard to lay off, and Kansas State is an out away.
Yeah, nasty stuff from James Guyette. Well, what a payoff to be able to lower that arm slot. And to have the command to do it, that's not an easy task when you're a pitcher. You've been throwing one way most of your life, and then Pitching coach Rudy Darrow says, hey, let's try this, see if this will work. And not only did it work, he picked up velocity and tremendous movement.
Another pinch hitter for Michigan. They go to Braden Jeffries, the freshman from California. A couple West Coast guys square off. And a fastball is high. Our first look at Jeffries this weekend, whose older brother Cody was on the roster, played shortstop for Michigan a couple years ago. Outside on that curveball. Now, ever since Michael Quevedo exited the game, it was a 2-1 game. Runners on the corners, nobody out in the fifth. 14 straight Wolverines have been retired by a combo of two different K-State relievers.
Yeah, that's outstanding. If K-State can continue to get that from their bullpen, watch out.
That one's high, 3-0. Have not even had a base runner since then. That one's in there. And Guyette figuring this is where he wants to end it right here with a freshman pinch hitter. You have Jonathan Kim, who's been red hot. 4 hits this weekend on deck with the top of the order due up.
Yeah, I definitely want to stay away from the middle of that Michigan lineup. They can turn the game around in a heartbeat.
Right down the middle. Challenges him with a fastball, and it's 3-2. Traveling K-State fans making some noise. Their Wildcats a pitch away. But it's outside. Ball 4. Great AB for Braden Jeffries coming in ice cold off the bench to turn this lineup over.
Yeah, his job was just to figure out a way to get on base and turn this lineup over. Does just that. Now the hot hitting Jonathan Kim.
He led the game off with a booming double, scored a couple minutes later. That's the only offense today for the Wolverines, who have scored runs in the first inning of both games, but have not done much in the late innings. Slider misses down. The issue for Michigan is Mitch Voigt, their star, is still 4 batters away. Need to somehow get to him if they feel like they have a chance. Strike on the outer half, 1-1.
Well, that is the goal. Put Voigt up in any spot where you have a situation where you can win the game, and that's the goal for Michigan.
Inside, 2-1. The issue for the Wolverines, though, is they have not taken advantage of the few opportunities they've had. 2 for 14 with runners on base, just 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, most of that happened early in the game, too. First 5 innings.
Outside, 3-1. Not a good time to lose your command if you're James Guyette. Did have 2 walks and a hit by pitch. That was part of his undoing his last time out in the midweek game against North Carolina when he gave up 5 runs in his 1 inning. Finds the zone here, and once again K-State back to within a strike.
Yeah, good take by Kim. 4-run cushion. I mean, the last thing you want to do is give free passes and make them earn it.
Spoiled foul. On every situation so far this year, Jonathan Kim has produced. The Brookfield, Wisconsin native entered the weekend leading the Big Ten in hits. 13 for 27. He's hit 500 this year with runners on, 600 with 2 outs. All crazy numbers. And he takes a 3-2 walk. Second straight full count walk from James Guyette. Not a whole lot of activity down in that Kansas State bullpen, but things getting a little nervy here with the 2-hole hitter, Cade Ladahoff, coming up.
Yep, and that's exactly what Pete Hughes is feeling, right? He's like, go out there and tell that guy just to pump strikes.
It is never easy.
You know, Brock Hunsinger out of the dugout. I'm sorry, make that Rudy Darrow. And of course, knows this pitcher well. Did a great job working with him to make those adjustments with his arm slot. Now, what words of wisdom does he have to help him throw a strike?
Tying run in the on-deck circle for Michigan. They've at least made it interesting after being lifeless for the last hour and a half. And a dangerous hitter in Cade Ladahoff, who had prodigious numbers last year as a freshman at NJIT, was the America East Rookie of the Year. And hit 3 homers in 4 games in that conference tournament. Watches a good curveball bend in there for a first pitch strike.
Yeah, from the front door as well. Good take by Ladahoff. Not a good pitch to swing at. Sometimes those mound visits just to slow the heartbeat down a little bit, take a couple of deep breaths. Just recalibrate.
Can't find it on that curve, and it's 1-1. Ladahoff was the MVP this summer of the Perfect Game Collegiate League. Hit 408 with 5 homers to lead the league. At the top of the zone, this time a slider, and it's 1-2.
Pitch catches top of the strike zone. Maybe not.
It's been a generous zone today from Blake Felix. The 1-2 hit hard to left field. Dean going back at the wall, makes the catch. Has just enough room to end this game. As Kansas State's great weekend continues, Guyette shuts the door with a 5-1 win.
Wow. With his back against the wall, did Micah Dean make that catch? Boy, that was sent some shivers through that Kansas State dugout, but Guyette does the job, gives up a couple of walks, but gets out of the jam. And K-State 2-0 on the weekend. They are feeling good.
The only team out of 4 struggling coming into this weekend. Michigan, TCU, Arkansas were all 4-0. K-State was not, and yet they've won their first 2 games and have looked really good doing it. 2 clean games as well, Pat.
They really have, and that's been the key. And I'm sure Pete Hughes super excited, super happy about the way his team has responded after that 1-4 start. Looks like a much different team than what he saw last week in Coastal Carolina.
They stranded 10 Michigan base runners today, punctuated by that 5th inning jam. Dante Lewis got out of it. And Dante is our player of the game. He's standing by with Leanza Peroni. We'll send it down to Leanza, standing down on the field with our player of the game, the outstanding freshman for K-State, Dante Lewis.
Second win in a row for the Wildcats. After last night's big win, what was the conversation to make sure that you could keep the momentum up and keep stacking wins?
Basically that, just keep the gravy train flowing, flush it, and push to the next game.
You looked so confident out there on the mound in a big league stadium as a true freshman. How have you managed to find that composure?
Kind of had it all my life, I would say. Been playing in big games for forever now, so it was just another game for me. I just went out and did my job and helped my team get the victory.
D. Kennedy was a big incoming transfer for you guys. 2-run homer today to really get the offense moving. What type of impact do you see him having on this Wildcat offense this season?
A good one. He brings a lot of energy to our offense. He's a good leadoff. Yeah, he's good in the 3-hole. I think he hit in 3-hole today, but he helps us on the bases. So he's a good all-around athlete, and he'll help us win some more games. Also, Seth Dardar, freaking monster nuke today. Crazy.
Congratulations, big win.
Yeah, I describe that as a monster nuke as well, Seth Dardar. Way to go. Dante Lewis, freshman, he's a team player, giving his guys a shout out as Kansas State They do add on another win, a 5-1 victory over Michigan today. For Lucas Haskins, our entire production crew, Leanza Peroni, our sideline reporter, Pat Combs, I'm Ben Wilson. Saying goodbye for now. We have one more game still to come. Join us in an hour exactly, 6 p.m. Central tonight. TCU and Arkansas battle of top 25 teams coming up next. But for now, it's Kansas State enjoying the fruits of this Amegy Bank College Baseball Series presented by Kubota. They go to 2-0 on the weekend as they knock off Michigan by a final score of 5-1.
We're closing the door, man.